Hi everyone, I found my concealer. You guys see me? It's fucking hot in this room. Oh, I swore in the first 30 seconds I'm gonna get in trouble now. Can you guys see me? Can you guys see me? Oh my gosh. Anyways, I found my concealer. Look at this. It's a cute little travel size one. Isn't it so cute? There's no reason, if you guys use the Tarte Shape Tape, there's no reason to buy a full size one. I literally own the full size one for like 3 years and I never used it up. Okay? So just get the travel size. That's my tip. I didn't mean to pregame as hard as I did, and I forgot that I hadn't eaten anything today except for raspberries that I got from my garden. So I don't think I've ever been on drunk on stream before, but I'm like between tipsy and drunk right now. I can totally read everything. We're gonna vibe today. I'm excited about it. I'm so excited to stream. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to stream. We're gonna talk about BDSM. We're gonna talk about DOMs. We're gonna talk about asexuality. We're gonna talk about polyamory. All of the rees. All of the amories. We're gonna talk about all of that. It's gonna be very fun and exciting. Yes. I very rarely have alcohol. I'm about to turn 28. I am very much an adult, by the way, YouTube. Very much legal for me to be doing this. I do not in any way, shape, or form encourage underage drinking. In fact, I don't even think you should start drinking until you're like 25, to be honest. That's my hot take. Mandatory drinking age 25. And I'm wearing this shirt that I haven't worn in forever. It says I'm off limits because I am emotionally. I have some dating stories. I have some. Listen, we're gonna have a great time today, guys. I'm so excited. It's not my birthday, so my birthday's the 5th, and that is what day of the week? Tuesday, which was the same day the day I was born. The 1994, the 5th was also a Tuesday. So we may do a bonus stream on Tuesday on YouTube, maybe also on Twitch, and also just stream on my birthday, because as far as I know, no one has any plans for me. No one went, hey, Evie, what do you want to do for your birthday? Nobody asked that question. So I may just be hanging out with y'all, but I will not be mad either way. Yes, so I am drinking coconut rum mixed with lemonade, and it's dangerously good. I am very sensitive to alcohol. I do not drink a lot. And the coconut rum is pretty good. I'm not normally a rum person. Don't really drink rum. But you know what? This fucking works. Fucking slaps. Fucking slaps, as the kids say. I'm also about to turn 24 in a week. Oh my gosh. Happy birthday, fellow Cancerian. Hopefully you have more thoughts on asexuals enjoying erotica. I am an asexual. I've pretty much only ever read erotica for making YouTube reviews, so I feel like I'm not maybe the exact. I'm gonna fucking open a window. It's fucking hot as hell in here. Okay. Why is it so hot in here? It's not that hot outside. I'm gonna fucking hear my roommates come home and shit. It's gonna be super annoying. Whatever. It's okay. We'll deal. It's just, it gets so hot in here with the camera equipment, and I don't even know what else. I also need to lower. There we go. I'm not confident. Listen, we're not even going to stream for 2 hours. This is an unlimited time stream, okay? We've entered an unlimited time mode. This could be an hour. It could be 3. I don't fucking know what's going to happen. It's a choose your own adventure type situation right now, baby. It's whatever's going to be will be. Not drunk enough you can say 5-syllable words. I don't know if I've ever been that drunk. I've always been very lucid while drunk, except for... Do you guys want to hear the one time? Hear the story about the one time I blacked out? You guys want to hear that story? I never was interested in drinking in high school, so I don't have any stories about that. I was a deeply incurious teenager. I was like, what's oral sex? I don't know, what's that? Never on my radar whatsoever. Definitely made surviving high school as somebody with severe mental health issues way easier. I didn't realize I don't talk about that on my channel. We're not going to get into that tonight. You know, they're not going to trick me into talking about my mental health just because I've been drinking. Just know that it's a factor. I just don't want to be a mental health, like, influencer. Had a little bit about anxiety on my stream on Monday for Twitch, though. So I guess it's kind of cat's out of the bag on that one. Though, to be fair, I firmly believe if you're an online content creator, in order to do that as a full-time job, you gotta have something a little bit neurodivergent with your brain. I don't think you can do that with a fully operational normal brain, to be honest. I turned 64 today. Dang, I'm old. Nah, you're 64 years young, Heather. I'm so happy for you. If only I could live to also be 64. I love that for you. Oh my gosh, I turned 30. Oh my god, the big 3-0 on the 14th. Congrats, Darian. I hope I live to be 30. It's only going to be like 2.5 years away. But, you know, who knows? The planet's a weird place right now. It is Mental Health and Disability Awareness Month. Listen, I got all kinds of fucking issues, but we're not getting into that. I don't want it to be a bummer. We're gonna have a fun day today, y'all. It's my birthday in 4 days. I can't believe it's the 1st. I keep thinking it's the 31st, as though that's the thing that June only has 30 days. It only has 30 days. Okay. By the way, if you like the stream, give it a thumbs up so that way more people clickety clack on it and can join us in the fun times. All right, I'm gonna do the usual spiel. This is definitely an 18+ only live stream, because I am consuming adult substances. So if you're not at least 18, please don't be here. There's rules and FAQ down below. As always, please make sure to read those because they will guide you in having a fun time. So do that. I apologize for the road noise. We're doing that because it's boiling hot in here, and I like it when my camera equipment doesn't die. So if you hear random truckers go by and kids on what appear to be Dr. Seuss toys, I don't have any control over that. And once it gets dark, there may be fireworks. We're going to get through it together. It's going to be a great time. So, anyways, 18+ only. Read the rules. I don't give advice about, like, bro-doms or mental health or how to choke your partner, how to draw blood, anything like that. Especially right now, I don't give that advice. Although, I have at certain points in my life been drunk and then also given my friends a presentation about the differences between age play and DDLG. So I'm very capable of performing my job this way. I am using a holographic rainbow boba straw to drink this because that's all I had. I would love to be drinking this with a curly straw right now. I don't have one. And I'm German, and not being into beer can be considered a crime here. I've never been to Germany. You know, earlier today I was looking at travel stuff because Instagram has been serving me reels because I don't have TikTok, so it's the only way I stay in touch with what the youth are into these days is Instagram reels. And I saw a reel for Switzerland. I would love to go to the Swiss Alps. Very beautiful, looks amazing. And I was planning on, like, okay, how could I go from the Swiss Alps to like white sand beaches in Europe in a single trip? And I think if I do Switzerland, if maybe I go to like Cologne or Frankfurt, if I fly into one of those airports, and then I go to Switzerland, and then I go to is it Genoa? It's Genoa. Genoa, whatever. Go there, take a ferry to Sicily. That's my current headcanon. But any Europeans in the chat that have better ideas about that than me, let me know, because this is very much a pie-in-the-sky dream, because I don't have any fucking money. And this is what I do to escape, is imagine all the beautiful beaches I could be going to instead of being stuck in Oregon. Oregon has beaches, but not like, you know, warm. Like, they get kind of warm, but not really that warm. You know. Anyways, let me get some questions. Some coffee creamers, mostly soy oil? Why would they do that? I know it's non-dairy. It's probably cheaper, like shelf stable, but why? I occasionally drink like iced coffee, but what is the deal with coffee creamer? That's an answer we need, obviously. All right, I'm going to answer questions the other day come in, other than like banning people for spam. Don't spam the chat. I will ban you. Zip it. I love Germany and Switzerland. I've been to both and can recommend both. Listen, I just want to be in Switzerland. I want to be in the mountains. I want to be with cows. I want to see butterflies. I want the fucking Sound of Music experience. No, I want like the nice like Swiss Alps, okay? I want it to be warm and summery, but like in the mountains and like smelling the mountain air, just being in nature. And then I want to go to the beaches, but not like super busy. I don't want to be elbow to elbow with like a bunch of guys in Speedos, but listen, as long as they're respectful, I'm open to the experience. My mom never shuts up about Mazatlan or Zacatecas and the other Mexican beaches. She never messaged us. I thought about going to Mexico, but the thing is like I would never go to Ibiza. I would never go to like most of the places in Mexico because as far as I'm aware, they're always overrun with like college-age tourists, and I really don't want to intermix with a bunch of like drunk English 18-year-olds on spring break or whatever, okay? Not my scene, not my vibe. I want to be drunk alone and then attempting to read a comic book. That's my vibe. Being drunk on the beach alone. That's my energy. Papa Ricola and call it a night. Wait, in reference to being like near Switzerland or like in combination with the drinking? Because if you don't know, the American advertisements for Ricola are like pretend like Swiss Alps, like a guy with like one of those really big I don't know what they're called, the big horns that they use to like communicate over long distances in the mountains, whatever those are. I have had family members that have a very good experience in Mexico though, so I'm not like, I don't think Mexico's like dirty or whatever. I don't think Mexico's bad. Listen, pretty much every Latin American and Spanish speaking country gets a really bad rap, and I'm not here for it, and I hate that. I grew up in Florida. Like, my best friend in kindergarten was from Spain. I grew up listening to Puerto Rican and Cuban Spanish. Like, I have no problem with Spanish or Spanish-speaking countries whatsoever. I just don't want to be near college-age spring break tourists. That's literally my only problem with any of this. And also, I don't want to get murdered. I would like to not get murdered. That's really it. Happy almost your birthday? Yes, my birthday's the 5th. Today's the 1st. So 4 days. I have nothing planned. It's fine. At this point, I'm getting to the age where I'm just like dreading my birthdays. I'm like, oh, can it be like 3 more months on my birthday? I don't want to get old before I find love, you know? That's all I want. Just having it, because like when you're a woman and you turn 30, it's not like I give a shit about turning 30 because everyone I know in their 30s is fucking awesome as hell. But oh my gosh, I love all the little, thank you, Must Have Moxie. I love all the little emojis you left me with the sheep and the parrot and the hippo. Is that a hippo? Oh my god, that's so cute. Thank you. Maybe I should put in the stream title that I'm drinking. I don't know. Maybe that needs a trigger warning. I don't want to be like, if anybody here is like AA or like has like a history of substance abuse, I don't want to be triggering to you. So I'm super sorry if this is like upsetting to you or you don't want to be around this. I totally get it. I'm just having a fun time. We're having a fun time. We're having a good time. But for those who don't know, I'm having coconut rum and lemonade. It's a dangerous combination. It doesn't taste like alcohol, and that's the worst. I have not had anything else to eat today. Don't investigate that. Don't think about that mentally too much. Again, zip it. We're zipping it. Bad idea, though, on this, because this alcohol is like 80 proof somehow. How do you make coconut rum that's sweet and 80 proof? I don't know, but they did it. Listen, I would love nothing more to be serving somebody a fucking cigar right now. That would be like... What I want for my birthday is boot blocking and cigar service. I want to receive it. I want to give it. That's what I want. That's it. The asexual, kinky birthday experience. Yes, cannot wait to discuss polyamory. Give me all of your questions, Miss Tina. I am here to answer. I'm not an expert on poly by any means, but there are not a lot of resources on YouTube for polyamory that are not vaguely cult-like. So if you want a real person's actual answer about poly that isn't going to be cult-like, this is the place to ask. Though I do also, Mandy, what's her name? She's great. We love Mandy on this channel. Let me give Mandy a shout out. Birthday shout outs for everyone. Is it mainly Mandy? Is that her name on YouTube? I don't know. We're friends on Twitter. I would love to do a video with her. If she would want to do like an interview with me, that would be fucking dope as hell. Alright, sending y'all, if you guys want to know about some poly shit and queer shit and bisexual shit, mainly Mandy, small channel, less than 4,000 subscribers. Y'all's birthday gift to me will be checking out some mainly Mandy videos. So there you go. That's the link. That's the tea. That's the drama. I had beef eaters on the rocks. What is that? Okay, I don't know anything about like cocktails. That sounds like maybe like a Bloody Mary. Oh, gin. Oh, the beef eater gin, of course. I thought maybe it was the name of a cocktail. I have only had gin like once or twice. It's been fine. That's my review. It was doable. It was fine. Tequila's the one thing I won't do though. Spice rum and Dr. Pepper is one of my summertime drinks. I don't drink soda. So I don't have any soda mixers, which is why we have the lemonade. Oh my god. When I was in college, there was one time that I was at like a partner's house at the time, and well, first of all, at a later point, I had to pretend to not be drunk around this person's mother, which was interesting. But because I didn't drink soda, the only mixer available was sugar-free lemonade. Horrible. Don't do that. If you're gonna do it, use regular lemonade. Stevia lemonade on its own is fine, but like as a mixer, absolutely fucking not. Disgusting. 0 stars. Delete from Google reviews. Get rid of it. Not an alcoholic drink, but amaretto, vanilla coffee creamer plus dark cherry Dr. Pepper tastes like a root beer float? Oh. Cool. Hi, Evie. It's Bundaberg rum and cola for us here in Australia. I'll remember that. I would love to go to Australia. It's another place I'd love to go to. I would have to emotionally get over being on a plane that long, but I'd do it. I'm on the West Coast. It can't be that bad, right? Take some sleeping pills or whatever beforehand. We'll be fine. Maybe not. Maybe you shouldn't do that. I don't think I'd actually recommend it. Do people recommend, like, melatonin before a flight? Probably not. That's probably actually a bad idea. Don't be like me. Oh, by the way, this isn't a Q&A. I might be a little bit out of it, but trust me, I'm going to give some solid fucking advice. I am in my no bullshit, like, mommy mood. So, like, if you want mom friend mode to give you some, like, hardcore advice, I'm here to give you mom friends hardcore advice. So, like, I might be a little bit stern, but it's because I love you. And I want what's best for you. So don't be afraid. We're gonna ask any question you want, okay? Question. What is your camera and light setup like? Also, how do you have priority? Also, how much do you have prior to editing your 30-minute videos usually? Oh, like footage. So my camera light setup for videos is different than what I have now. So right now I have a Sony Alpha. I don't remember the model number. It's hidden somewhere on the camera. It's been forever. But I have a Sony Alpha, and then I have an f1.4/24 lens on it. I think it's a Letica or whatever. I don't actually. Does it have the name on here? Let me look. Yeah, it's an FE1.4/24 GM. It's a Sony lens. So that's what I have in here. It overheats like hell, and I hate that. But otherwise, it's pretty good for streaming, so I like that. And then right now I have a ring light on me that's right there, and then natural light over there. So I try to kind of balance the two lights, although usually one side ends up being more in shadow for the other. And then when I'm filming, I usually have my window in front of me, and then a ring light, and then my camera in front of the ring light. So a lot of the light is more direct as opposed to now where it's sort of like crossing between my face, if that makes sense. And I pretty much always use that. Sometimes it was really bright light, I won't use the ring light, but I pretty much always have it on at least a little bit. And then the camera I use for filming is a Panasonic G7, which I'm trying to replace, but it's very expensive. So moving expensive other things have sort of taken priority over getting a new camera, although I am planning on getting one at some point in the near future. By the way, if you want to make sure I answer your question, you can use a super chat. It's the $sign down below. And you can also go to the description box. I believe that's where it is. Is Nightbot on yet? Maybe it hasn't been on for a little. Okay. I enabled Nightbot. And its first message should pop up in the next 30 minutes. So I'm hoping that Nightbot works. It should give y'all links to some important things that I mentioned during the stream. But that's pretty much what I use for videos. And then for how much raw footage I end up with, it totally depends on the video. When I am doing like a reaction video and it's like a YouTube video or something that I'm reacting to, I don't really have anything pre-prepared for that. And so pretty much everything that I say ends up in the video. Sometimes I edit around things if I end up kind of restating something, or if I decide that I don't want to say what I said. That doesn't really happen that often. But it usually, those can end up being an hour of like raw footage, but it's because I'm watching the video while I'm reacting to it. And obviously, I edit out the parts where I'm watching it and then replace that with the actual video clip. And then for actual like 30-minute videos, I usually end up with like 45 to 50 minutes worth of raw video. But oftentimes I end up, whoa, it's like really windy outside. The trees are speaking to me. Tell me your secrets, trees. Sorry. Anyways, I end up with like 45 to 50 minutes of raw footage. Generally, for most videos, end up being like half an hour to 25 minutes long. But it totally depends. Some days when I film, I just can't get my ideas out right, and it ends up being way longer. Sometimes I get it all in the first take, and it's like fucking gold. And especially if I don't have a script for anything, and I'm not really worried about hitting a certain number of points in a certain order, it's way easier for me to just like bang it out, and then maybe I'll edit around a little bit of stuff in post, but not really a lot. Most of it ends up actually being in the video. There's some videos I've done where it ends up being half an hour long and I have over an hour of footage, and I have some videos that are like 40 minutes long where I have like 45 minutes of footage. So it depends a little bit, but usually it's at least like between 45 minutes and an hour. But like I was trying to say earlier, I do oftentimes end up doing like the first minute to 2 minutes of the video like multiple times, because I try to get into a flow at the beginning with the intro to the subject, and then like, hi everyone, my name's Evie, blah blah blah. Like I try to be in a flow about that, and sometimes that can be really hard to do. So sometimes just like getting the intro correct and not like having to stop and think about what my intro is can be weirdly hard. Not the very beginning part, that's the same thing I say every time, but like introducing the subject sometimes can be the most difficult part. I don't know why, it just is. I'm sure other YouTubers have their own part of the video that's the hardest, like maybe it's the outro or whatever else. Oh my gosh, next question, let's go. That was even before I even started. Question. Oh my god. Explain the different types of polyamory. Oh my gosh, Miss Tina, you have so much of a world to explore. You're so lucky. Okay, so for this question, what I would recommend is there's a wonderful book by Tristan Taormino, who I've had on the channel before for an interview, called Opening Up. And that was a really good exploration of basically conversations with different people of different types of polyamorous relationships and how they navigate that, and how they have their relationship set up. And that kind of can help you figure out what your pathway might look like. You can also, I believe Liz Powell has a book it's called like Building Designer Relationships. That might also be a good answer for you. But broad strokes, I would say the sort of the four main types, and there is definitely variety within this, is you can have open relationships, which are they can mean a lot of different things. Like polyamory is kind of an umbrella label. Personally, I think that open relationships is more of the umbrella label, but if somebody is using poly as the umbrella label and then says they're open, what that generally means is they're open for other sexual relationships, but not other romantic connections. So their partner may go out and have sex with other people. They may go to like parties where they hook up with other people, like maybe swingers venues or even kink venues that are more sex-centric, and do that. That's generally what open tends to be, in my experience where I live, more about the sex than about the romance. Then you have people that are hierarchical poly, which is romantic and sexual in nature, generally speaking. And you have somebody that's in like the primary relationship, where that is the focus. It's the primary relationship. It's in the fucking name, of course. And all the other relationships are either secondary or tertiary. So they get typically less attention, less time. They're less centric to the other person's life. So, this can happen, especially if you have like a person who is married and then opens up their relationship and becomes poly. They may, by virtue of the fact that they're married, have that be the primary relationship, and then any additional relationships are secondary. You have non-hierarchical poly, which is where every relationship is more or less considered to be on equal footing. There may be some exceptions, of course, for like big long-term decision-making, where the people that are sort of, it's more equivalent to your total time in the relationship than it is like something absolutely where everyone who comes in after the primary is secondary and blah, blah, blah. Like, you can get to the point where you have more decision-making power, but like the person who's been in for 5 years is probably going to have more say over like where you decide to move than the person you've known for like 3 months. Generally. Some people don't do it this way, and they fucking will, they will wreck their lives for somebody they've been dating for, 2 months. And that's always fascinating to me, but they do it sometimes. So, non-hierarchical poly just means that, all the relationships are more or less egalitarian. There typically doesn't tend to be features that happen in hierarchical poly, not always, but can happen, veto power, which is when someone can say, the primary can say, not anyone, the primary can say, hey, I'm not comfortable with your secondary relationship. I think you're getting too close. I don't like this thing that they're doing. I think they're bad for you, whatever else. And they can decide, hey, you're not allowed to date that person anymore. And they veto the person, or ultimatums or things like that. Non-hierarchical poly tends not to have those features. It can sometimes, probably. Maybe if everyone has veto power, I don't know. And then finally, there's relationship anarchy, which is complete chaos and mostly used by men who want to not have any obligation emotionally to their partners and use it as a way to form harems with lots of women and be emotionally distant from all of them. And I'm generally very suspicious of people that say that they are relationship anarchists. I may be a little bit hyperbolic with that. Some relationship anarchists are fine, but my personal experience with them has not been particularly very good. So I'm a little wary on that front. Though everything is always different. We have a question from Tanya. That's a regular name, I assume. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have that much trouble with it. Tanya Smith. What benefits do you personally feel you've experienced being in a poly relationship, and how have you gotten through any hardships? Oh my gosh, this is such a great question, Tanya. I love this. So, for me, I am asexual. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen all my videos yet, I'm asexual. And I personally feel that being in a poly relationship for me, the primary benefit is I know that I am not the sole source of, sexual outlet in my relationships with people that are not also asexual. So if I'm dating somebody who's allosexual, that is somebody who's not ace, I know that they have the option and the ability to go out and have sex with other people. And there's not that obligation there. There's not that pressure on me. And I find that to be a really big relief personally. So it allows the relationship to be more what I want it to be, as opposed to being a lot of pressure to be something that it's really not. I'm trying to, I also just being able to see multiple people and not having to necessarily say no to other connections just because I'm in a monogamous relationship, because there tends to be a lot of restrictions in monogamous relationships in terms of even having friendships with people of the opposite sex, which I do not personally like. And I like being able to form connections with multiple people. And then as far as getting through hardships, honestly, therapy. Some people can do this shit and they're just naturally poly and they're just go with the flow, total easy breezy. I had to be introduced to poly as a concept. I don't even consider the fact that you could have relationships that involved one person and 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 one person. I didn't think that it could be like that, or two people and then they come together and then it's a quad. I never considered that was a thing that humans could do, and so I had to be introduced to the concept. Which I think has largely worked out for me. I definitely, being an ace person and not wanting to have sex, there can still, well, not ever, not completely sex repulsed, but not in the way that a normal, fully sexual person wants to have sex. There can still be feelings of fear of not being adequate, of being replaced, of not being as important as the relationships that are more sexual, and that can all be very difficult to navigate, but there's lots of works, but oh my gosh, I have a perfect example. Oh my god, this is so fucking perfect. I went to Sheba, which is a really great woman-owned, queer-owned sex toy store in Portland, and I got this really great workbook, you guys, and it's called, oh my gosh, it matches my background. Look, it matches my background. Oh my gosh. ASMR book time. You guys want me to do ASMR book reading on boundaries? I'll fucking do it. I will do ASMR book reading right now. Listen, I'm gonna do a poll. I don't do polls. We're gonna do a poll. And we're gonna do hell yes and nah. Those are gonna be the options. And we'll do what for the third option just for fun. So vote in the poll. But I got this really great book from Shebop, which if you're in the Portland area, they also have an online shop. Totally recommend them. It's called the Better Boundaries Workbook, and it's called a CBT-based program. Personally, I prefer DBT over CBT, but I'm like a very eclectic person when it comes to therapeutic approaches. It's about what works for you, whether that be a combination of CBT, IFS, DBT, exposure therapy, talk therapy, fucking dream analysis. I don't give a shit. Whatever works, you know? It says, a CBT-based program to help you set limits, express your needs, and create healthy relationships. Learn assertiveness skills. Stop feeling guilty and cultivate self-compassion. There's another workbook I have that is called Mindful Self-Compassion that is about meditation. If you're into meditation at all, it's a really, really good workbook as well. And I'm just super excited that I have this. I feel like this is very much a good tool to have in your toolbook for exploring poly, is learning how to navigate boundaries, learning how to navigate your own feelings of jealousy, and where is like a rational feeling of a boundary being violated or something going too far for your current comfort level versus something that's irrational and based in like an irrational fear of loss. There was a really, really great Dr. K video that came out today that I watched earlier when I was making a thumbnail for today's video. It was titled like The Truth About Incels. So I imagine that if you wouldn't have no idea what the actual topic of it was, but he was talking about like how the amygdala and the hippocampus and all these different parts of the brain work together, and how when you're in your emotional mind, the more rational part of your mind is like sort of like underneath that, and your emotional brain takes over, and vice versa, right? Like it's really hard to be, if you're fully emotional, to also be logical, and if you're fully logical, to be also emotional. So you have to try really hard to balance those two together. And then also on top of that, like, it really helps to understand that when you're in the moment and you're feeling really intense jealousy or fear of loss, or you're struggling personally, that is a feeling that's coming from being entirely in the emotion mind. And if you're familiar with like dialectical behavior therapy, which is DBT, you'll also sort of understand this as well, because they talk about that in there, is like when you're fully in your emotion mind, you shouldn't, and it's dangerous to make decisions and make conclusions based solely on that emotional reading. It's also dangerous to make readings solely based on the logical portion of your brain, because your emotions are also an important component of us. You can't ignore the emotions, because emotions are what make us human. So if you're having a really hard time, if you're suffering, if you're crying every night, if your partner makes you really fucking mad, like you can't ignore that and go, logically, they provide for me, and they're the breadwinner, and they have this house, and they have this, that, and the other. Like, logically, they can seem like a good person to be with, but if the emotional part of your brain is being ignored, and that hurt and that pain and that suffering is being ignored, you're not really making a fully rational choice. You have to be able to combine the two in a wise mind setting, where you're making choices based both off of the information your emotions are giving you, and also off of your rational mind put together to help you make the best decisions based on the human brain. So I it's really hard. Poly's not for everyone, and it's really hard to know if poly is for you. Why am I so shiny today? Because it's fucking hot outside, and I don't know. My forehead's actually not really that oily. I think I just have, like, my skin's just like this. I don't know. Skincare, that's why. That's why I'm shiny. It's really hard to know if poly's actually for you or not until you actually go out and try it, because the way that our world is set up is very monogamy-centric. And so you might actually be perfectly suited to poly and never know it, because you're told from a really young age about these stories of like love triangles, and the princess has to choose between these two princes, and somebody always gets left behind, and it's really like tragic and sad. And breaking down that programming of, you're supposed to find your forever prince, you're supposed to find your forever princess, and that's the one and only, right? That's really hard to get through. And so it makes it hard to know from the outside if something is something you can actually do or not, because we just don't have a lot of good representation of what poly is like or not. And for me, I don't like identify as poly, as like, you know, I am polyamorous. I wouldn't use that language for myself. I prefer to think about it like poly is something that I choose to do, and I could choose not to do it. I could be happy in a monogamous relationship. I would have to find a very specific person to make that work, and I haven't found that person yet. Maybe someday I will. And I'm not saying that I'm not closed off to the possibility of monogamy. I want to be clear about that. I could definitely find somebody who prefers monogamy, that I could work really well together with, and that I wouldn't need other partners necessarily if we just fit together really well. But I'm also happy doing poly, and I think it's a lot of people actually. So I'm really digging Drunk Evie. We need more of this. I'm gonna try and not do it all the time, but it is the summer, and why not? It's a natural glow. It is. It's a natural glow. Not for any baby related reasons, to be fair. I pretty much take a pregnancy test whenever I change my mover ring, and there's nothing going on. So don't even worry about it. Nothing else going on there. I am, however, changing from the mover ring to Nexplanon on July 9th. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be an adventure. Vlog in the Planned Parenthood. Man, fucking if David Dobrik, can you even imagine if David Dobrik or somebody went to Planned Parenthood and vlogged there? It'd fucking the end of YouTube. All right, let's see what the thing says. 74% say hell yes. 12% say what? All right, I'm just gonna read a little bit, and then we'll go back to answering questions because this is fun. All right, the Better Boundaries Workbook. A new harbinger. I'm going to read it like I would a story. The Better Boundaries Workbook. A new harbinger self-help workbook. Authored by Sharon Martin, which is a master's of social work and a licensed clinical social worker. Wow. What an achievement in life she's had. We're so happy for her. All right, where should we start, guys? Do you want us communicating your boundaries? Do we want to learn about that? Let's see, what do we got here? Why it's hard to set boundaries? What boundaries are not? That's a good one. What are boundaries and why do we need them? Maybe that's where we should start. All right, Chapter 1. What are boundaries and why do we need them? Boundaries are essential to our health, happiness, and success. However, setting boundaries is a challenge for many of us. We're not used to standing up for ourselves and asking for what we need. We're afraid to say no because we don't want to disappoint or offend people. And we lose track of who we are and what's important to us because we're so focused on what other people want or need. Consequently, we end up frustrated, exhausted, unappreciated, and mistreated. But we can learn to set boundaries with kindness, assertively ask for what we need, and create more satisfying and respectful relationships. To get started, we'll look at the function of boundaries, how a lack of boundaries negatively affect us, and the benefits of learning how to set healthy boundaries. All right, I'm gonna close my window actually. I don't want any fucking motorcycles or wingle dingle hoppers or whatever the hell it is that kids are on these days. I don't want any wingle dingle hoppers to interrupt my ASMR. Story time reading. All right, let's continue. What are boundaries? A boundary is a dividing line that defines who you are as an individual and how you'll interact with others. Boundaries define what's me, my body, my feelings, my property. Aw, thank you. Somebody that is. Aw, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It feels dirty. Listen, it's just about boundaries. It's very asexual. My feelings. I think people think ASMR is sexual because there's a bunch of people that do sexual ASMR, which is fine. I get that coin, girl. That's not me. My property, my responsibilities, and so forth. And what's not me. Boundaries also communicate how we want to be treated by others, what's okay and not okay with us, and how close we want to get physically and emotionally to others. Boundaries take a variety of forms. For example, physical boundaries protect your space, body, and property. Sexual boundaries protect your right to consent, to ask for what you want sexually,
and to receive honesty about your partner's sexual history. Emotional boundaries allow you to have your own thoughts and feelings and protect you from emotional harm such as invalidation or betrayal. Time boundaries help you manage your time so you don't commit to things you don't want to do and end up overworked. Boundaries differentiate you from me. One of the primary functions of a boundary is to differentiate one thing from another, or in this case, one person from another. Boundaries make it clear that you're unique and autonomous person, not simply an extension of someone else, such as your partner or your spouse. This differentiation is important because it defines your identity and clarifies what you are and are not responsible for. When you set boundaries, you assert your individuality. We all have our own thoughts, feelings, values, goals, and interests. But sometimes others are threatened or confused by our differences and want us to think, feel, and act as they do. And we too may be afraid of being different, assuming it will lead to criticism and rejection. So we hide our true selves, allowing others to tell us who we are. Psychologists use the term enmeshment to describe this type of undifferentiation. In enmeshed relationships, there aren't boundaries. Everyone is expected to toe the line, meaning everyone should think, feel, and behave the same. In an enmeshed or boundaryless relationship, you live your life based on what other people want you to do or what they think is right instead of deciding for yourself. Boundaries create a healthy separation between you and others and define who you are so you can be yourself and make choices that are right for you. Boundaries define who you are. A lack of boundaries can leave you unsure of who you are and what you need, what you like to do, what matters to you, and what you believe in. Without boundaries, you lose your true self because there's no separation between you and someone else. Kirsten is a perfect example of how we can lose ourselves when we don't have boundaries. Life was going great for Kirsten. She was thrilled with her new job, teaching art, and spent Saturday mornings training for half marathons with a close group of friends. And on Sunday nights, she volunteered for a teen crisis line, a cause close to her heart following her sister's struggle with depression. However, all of this changed when she started dating Nick. Nick was moody and angry, and as their relationship progressed, Kirsten's mood suffered too. She spent more and more time trying to make him feel better, helping him find a more fulfilling job, and encouraging him to see a therapist. She gave up volunteering for the crisis line so she could be with Nick, but he usually spent the time tinkering in the garage alone. She also cut back on running with her friends because Nick thought they were snobby. Instead, they socialized with his friends. Kirsten found them immature, but not wanting to anger Nick, she didn't say anything. I can't even comprehend the said words. Oh no, I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to get to the end of this next little bit here, and it's going to be like another page, basically. Then we'll go back to regular streaming. How about that? Kirsten went from a happy, confident woman with a sense of purpose, close friends, and knowing what was important to feeling lonely and discouraged. She gave up her hobbies and friends. She absorbed Nick's moods and problems, and they became her own. She didn't know how to hold a boundary between herself and Nick, and so she got swallowed up by Nick's feelings, needs, and interests. It's easy to see the difference in Kirsten before and after Nick. But when this happens in childhood, it's harder to spot because you may not have ever developed a strong sense of identity or purpose. Boundaries define what you're responsible for. In Kirsten's story, you saw how she took responsibility for Nick's problems and tried to solve them for him. On one hand, this is a caring thing to do, but ultimately, They aren't problems she can solve. She can provide support and guidance, but she can't get him a more fulfilling job or make him go to therapy. Those things are in Nick's control and are, therefore, his responsibility. Let's look at one more example that highlights how boundaries define what it is we're responsible for. Freddie discovered that his wife, Maria, had been texting a male colleague late at night. Ooh, spicy. Sharing personal stories and pictures of herself. Freddie thought it was inappropriate. It probably was. And felt hurt and angry. He confronted Maria, and her response was, "Why are you making such a big deal about this? You're never home anyway. Maybe if I wasn't so lonely, I wouldn't be texting James." Maria didn't take responsibility for her actions, texting James, or her feelings of loneliness. Instead, she blamed Freddie and tried to make him responsible for her behavior and feelings. Freddie probably contributed to their marital problems, but he was not responsible for Maria's behavior or feelings, neither of which he has control over. Since boundaries help define us as individuals, they also make clear that we're responsible for our own thoughts, feelings, actions, words, and bodies, but we're not responsible for things we can't control, namely how other people feel and what they do. And as you saw with Freddie and Maria, unclear boundaries can lead to blaming and expecting someone else to solve your problems. When there are healthy, appropriate boundaries, everyone takes responsibility for their own feelings and actions. Boundaries are limits. The second primary function of boundaries is to set limits. Boundaries communicate how you want to be treated, what you need, and what you expect. Limits are necessary because they protect you from being hurt by others. You also need limits for yourself. Boundaries guide your decisions and behavior and stop you from doing things that aren't in your own best interest, like drinking too much.
Called out.
Called out. Or overspending. Setting limits for yourself also ensures that you focus on what's most important to you and that you spend your time, energy, and money according to your goals and values. Boundaries provide physical and emotional safety. Safety is one of our most basic needs. We need to be physically safe from harm and feel emotionally safe to form trusting relationships, feel good about ourselves, solve complex problems, and so on. In the 1940s, psychologist Abraham Maslow created the hierarchy of needs that remains a helpful way to conceptualize that humans must first meet their basic needs before they can devote time and energy to more complex and abstract needs, such as feeling appreciated or doing meaningful work. Maslow placed safety at the bottom of the hierarchy of needs. Along with sex, people always forget that part. Second to our physiological needs, food, water, shelter, and sleep, which also includes sex, by the way, because Maslow was a horny son of a bitch. Physical safety. Refusing to get into a car with a driver who's been drinking or asking someone aggressive to leave our home are examples of boundaries that we set to protect our physical safety. A restraining order is another example of a boundary that we set, in this case, by a judge, to keep someone safe from physical harm. These types of boundaries define how others can treat us and what we'll do to keep ourselves safe. If we don't set boundaries, we run the risk of being hurt. Often, the danger we face isn't physical, but emotional. And while our emotional pain isn't life-threatening, it's just as real and hurts just as much as physical pain. For the record, there are numerous studies that show that when you experience physical pain and emotional pain, the same areas of the brain do in fact light up. Take that with a grain of salt because a lot of neurobiology is in fact fucking bullshit. But moving on, our emotional safety is threatened when we're bullied, belittled or called derogatory names, frequently criticized, lied to, blamed for things we didn't do, shamed or told we're inadequate, yelled at, betrayed or cheated on, with someone unpredictable or prone to angry outbursts, and so on. Even an isolated occurrence by a stranger can be painful. But it's even more painful when these types of behaviors are perpetuated regularly by a loved one. Boundaries are a way to protect ourselves from threats to our emotional safety because they communicate how we expect to be treated and what we'll accept from others. For example, you can set a boundary to maintain emotional safety by hanging up the phone with your sister who starts cursing at you, or you can ask your father to stop making sarcastic comments about your appearance. Boundaries ensure your focus is on what's most important. In addition to protecting our physical and emotional safety, boundaries protect us from overworking, overcommitting, overgiving, being taken advantage of, and doing things that don't align with our values and priorities. If we had unlimited amounts of time, energy, and money, we could say yes to everything. But since we have limited resources, we need to be thoughtful about how we spend our time, energy, and money. Boundaries serve as limits that ensure we're using our resources on the things that matter most to us. Boundaries, for example, if I say yes to every project I'm asked to do, I'll be overworked and I won't have enough time and energy for my family. And since I value quality family time, I need to protect it with a boundary on how many hours I can work. As you can see, saying yes to one thing means you'll have to say no to something else. Conversely, when you say no or set a boundary, it frees up resources for the things that you want the most. So far, we've talked about boundaries as dividing lines that differentiate one person from another and clarify what we're each responsible for. Boundaries act as limits that protect us from physical and emotional harm, and from spending our time, energy, and money on things that we don't value. How do you define boundaries? Write your own definition. And that is where we will end the ASMR reading for today, my sweet children. I hope you enjoyed that. I had fun. Okay. I saw a store today that sold... Oh my god, I'm gonna have to fucking show you guys this shit. Look at this. I'm not putting them on blast because they put a disclaimer out that's like, oh no, it's fine. Like, you don't, it's only for photo shoots. Like, motherfucker. You can't like do this shit and then be like, don't wear it except for photo shoots. Like, don't fucking make it. Alright. They look pretty, but don't do this. Okay, I think the top one's a ball gag and the other one's a collar. But there's this place in Portland and they make ball gags that are made out of... It's made out of like amethyst and moonstone and shit, and like it's cute. But have you ever dialed 1-800 chip my teeth? Like it's like a one-way destination for tooth chipping. Like, they look so pretty, but they'd be so bad for your teeth. And it makes me sad because, like, you think there's a reason why most gags are silicone? And, like, plastic and fabric and shit. Like, they look so pretty. But also, dental work is expensive. And they make, like, cute butt plugs and stuff. And I'm like, I'm pro that. Y'all are gonna get sued one day because somebody's gonna chip their front teeth on this shit. And, like, it's porous. And, like, bacteria from your mouth is gonna get in it. And, like, then you're gonna wear it. You're gonna reinfect your mouth with bacteria and shit. I'm like, come on. Come on. Just because it looks pretty doesn't mean you have to do it. You know... Safety, that's my jam. You chipped your teeth on a retail job? Oh my god, what happened? Made by a dentist in need of business. I mean, listen, I'm all for conspiracy theories. I believe that shit. Kind of like natural stone used for D&D dice, like a pretty thing but not a good idea. I feel like I've kind of seen that, and like it works like better because you don't put D&D in your like dice in your mouth, you know. Well, somebody probably does. I don't do that. I've never put D&D dice in my mouth. Do people? Well, people make like earrings and stuff out of them, right? So somebody must have.
Trying to put a security device through a thick leather coat? I don't know. That probably, like, one of those ink tag things? Yeah, natural stone. Not really, like, they look pretty, and I'm, like, happy they have a business or whatever, but it doesn't sound like the best idea. Alright. ASMR is over. Are they not balanced? That could be part of it. Okay, I explained the difference between different types of polyamory. What's the next question? How's everyone doing? I'm doing fucking great. I'm doing awesome. I'm having coconut rum and lemonade. I'm hanging out with you guys. Oh, my ice has already melted, which I'm a little bit sad about. And my dog's sleeping in her little bed, and she's so cute. I haven't had popcorn forever. That does sound pretty good. Yeah, I have entered the chat. And I am tipsy. You can't stop me. Yeah. Oh, I didn't finish my thoughts about asexuals enjoying erotica. Asexuals enjoying erotica is like perfectly valid and perfectly normal. And I'm here to police what other ace people do. I have definitely... What is it the written version of hentai? Like where it's comics? I've definitely partaken in that a time or two before. And certainly lots of ace people enjoy erotica because then it allows them a way to sort of like explore the idea of sexuality without having to interface with another real human being that they don't experience sexual attraction to. And so I totally get why that would be something that would be appealing to ace people, especially if you're like, why do people have relationships like this? Like, what is up with the sexual and the romantic and the what even is any of that? Like, I get why people would be into it for sure. For sure. It clanks around in the glass. I'm making a tornado! I'm so much fun at parties, guys. You can't even imagine. I'm so fun at parties. I'm actually not, though. I'm probably mediocre at parties because I don't want to be there. That's the real answer. What would you like to do for your birthday? Mine's the following week. I would love to go to the beach. I want to go to the beach. I want to be in the sun. I want to have a little picnic. Take my dog to the beach. That would be fun. That's what I want. I'm not that like, I don't expect anything. I don't ask very much of other humans in my life. I just want to not be shamed for being asexual constantly. I want people to understand my job. And I want people to occasionally take me to the beach. And that's all I want. That's my only expectations of fellow human beings. I don't really ask for a whole lot. And some people can't even clear that mark. So, sorry, you've been voted off the island. Or whatever it is that they say on The Apprentice when they get rid of somebody. I don't know. Any tips on finding an asexual kink partner? My boyfriend is into it, but we always end up doing sexy time because he just gets turned. Welcome to the reason my last relationship ended. Oh my god. Fucking flashbacks. Because he just gets turned on too much and to keep the scene going. LOL, I just don't always want to do the sex part. Okay, there's a couple ways you can handle this. One, you agree to have sex before you do the BDSM. The problem with this is if part of the reason that they get motivated to do BDSM is their sexy arousal time, this might not work super great. But you can always make sure that either they have time to masturbate beforehand or you do something sexual beforehand to give them that release so you can focus on doing the scene. That is one way of doing it. Two, you do kinks that they don't find sexual. So if they don't find wax play sexually arousing, guess what you're doing? Wax play. Or you fucking tell him to have control over his fucking penis and be like, hey, I want to do BDSM with you. And I would like it if we didn't have to stop in the middle of me being in subspace so that way you could put your dick somewhere. And you just put it on the line. And, like, if it makes you uncomfortable, let me know. You don't have to say it like the way I say it because I'm a cold-ass bitch and I don't care what other people think about me. So I would just be like, hey, I wanted to keep doing BDSM with you, but we can't keep doing it if you stop in the middle for your boner. Your boner is not the dom in this scene. You're the dom in this scene. Does your boner control you? If it does, you're not really a dom. That's my fucking hottest of hot takes. But no, seriously. I think either the doing sexy times beforehand, so that way he can focus on just doing the BDSM with you is a good idea, or just being like, hey, like, if or just like plan it maybe doing shorter scenes to where like you can get through the whole scene and do the stuff that you want to do with it before he needs to stop to get his needs met. You can also do that, or just do things that he doesn't in particular find arousing, but hopefully he would still find enjoyable in like a BDSM context or like with you emotionally for some reason. But also he just needs to like, I just don't, I'm not a sexual person, and I also don't have a penis, so maybe I don't get it, but I feel like if your penis is doming you, maybe you should work on that a little bit before you start doing BDSM with somebody who wants to do things primarily non-sexually. Just don't make promises you can't keep. Like, it's one thing if you're getting into a scene and they're like, oh, this is going to arouse me and I might need to stop, like, partway through if I get too turned on. And, like, being like, oh, yeah, that'll be totally fine. Don't worry, it's not a problem. And then they have to stop halfway through to do it. If it's the first one and you both know that it's going to end up becoming sexual, that's very different than it getting sprung on you and being like, what the fuck? But really, on finding an asexual kink partner, there are tons of asexual groups on like FetLife, and there's tons of ace people, especially in like local kink communities. So if you have any way to be connected to that or like talk to other people that way, the problem is whenever I meet another asexual person, especially if it's a man, they're almost always aro ace, and so they're also not looking for a romantic relationship either, which is not what I want. I don't give a shit about sex, but I do like romantic relationships, and so I would like to have that, please. One order of romantic relationship, please. What is this question? How do we get here? The question was, any tips on finding an asexual kink partner? My boyfriend is into it, but we always end up doing sexy time because he just gets too turned on. Too much to keep the scene going. LOL, I just don't always need the sex part. That was the question. Anyways, that's where my advice is for now. If anyone wants to add on to that, that was great. We're going to keep moving along because it's already after 7 o'clock and I'm probably going to have to take a break to pee in like 10 minutes. So we're just going to answer as many questions as possible. When I was 21, I blacked out first night of spring break. Oh no! Came to 2 hours after the subway stopped running, 20 blocks away to my apartment. Oh my god. Well, you got back safe eventually because you're still alive, so congrats. Jeez Louise.
Creative Authority donated
$17. Thank you. Wow, thank you.
Happy nearly birthday, Tilda.
Thank
Smiley
you.
face. That was a fun reading. Just say no to stone gags and chipped teeth, blinking face. What percentage of poly relationships include kink, do you think?
Oh, that is such a good question. I don't know if we have any research about that. I would say there's definitely a segmentation between people that are poly and vanilla and people who are poly and kinky. They're definitely two different groups. There's a lot of kinky poly people and a lot of poly people that want nothing to do with kink. If like 2% of the general population is kinky, I would say like 20 to 25% of the population is kinky. But it depends on what age group, where you're living. Like, it depends on if you want like more of a swinging type thing, sex only, relationship anarchy. Like, it depends on also the subset within poly. But it's a pretty good chunk. Like, it also depends on what you mean by kinky, right? Like, if you just mean like somebody who's into like being dominated in the bedroom and like choking and, you know, wearing amethyst stone gags, I suppose. That percentage is pretty high. When it comes to poly people that do like 24/7 relationships, that do DS or things like that, I would say it's much lower. It's probably like 5%. But if you mean any level of kinky whatsoever at all, even if it just means like, I don't know, they like butt plugs and dominating people in the bedroom, then that's probably like 25%. But like, listen, my time on like poly-focused dating apps has like awoken me to the fact like there's a bunch of fucking people that do not fucking understand what the terms dom and sub mean on any level. And I'm gonna have to take a little drink before I continue with this story. So just hold on to your fucking hats for a minute here. Did I just drip liquid on myself? Yes, I did. Are we moving on? Yes, we're also moving on. I spent quite a long time on a dating app called Field, which I'm not really active on anymore because I ran out of interesting people that are compatible. And oh my fucking god, there are so many people. Listen, I'm being full kink shamer judge mode right now. I don't even care. Cancel me. I'm a kink shamer. Whatever. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to kink shame you freaks into using words correctly, I guess. I'll fucking do it. And so there's these people that are on field that say that like, oh yeah, I lean a little bit dom, but I'm still being submissive in the bedroom. And like you talk to them, and they don't have the first fucking clue about BDSM. They just think that being a dom means like being the one in control in the bedroom. And it's like, listen, I don't care. It doesn't take any effort whatsoever to be the one who's like, get on your knees and like suck my cock. Like that doesn't take any effort whatsoever. I could fucking do that shit. Fucking who cares? Get over yourselves. You're not that special. And they use the terms like dom and sub in their profile, but what they mean is like, oh my god, there's a squirrel in that tree. Oh my god, he's so cute. Sorry, dog mode just activated. I saw a squirrel in a tree. Oh my god, he's so... Is that a red squirrel? He looks red. It's a rare subtype of squirrel. He's got a little tail. Oh my god. Where is he going? Where are you going, squirrel? He's hiding. What are you doing, squirrel? Oh my god! Oh my god, he just scratched a little itch on his shoulder. Oh, he's smelling the air. Oh my gosh, he just stood up on his hand legs and he's grabbing a leaf. Oh no, he almost fell. Okay, no, he's good. I'm fully enthralled with this. Maybe I do have ADHD a little bit. I don't know what's going on. Fully enthralled with this. This is what my dog does every day when she's outside. I am you, and you're me. We're little peas in a pod, aren't we? You're panting a lot. Are you hot? I almost asked if you're hungry. You're not. You're always hungry. Fuck, what was I saying? Oh, people on the field. Yeah, they just don't know what dom and sub means, and they just think it means being in control in the bedroom. And I'm like, listen, I could be in control in the bedroom, and I'm an asexual submissive. So, like, get over yourselves. That's my opinion. Stop using those words. We don't know what they mean. I'm an angry old man. That's my opinion. All right, well, I lost track of the squirrel. I think he's somewhere in the tree now. I don't know where he is. I hope he's okay. I feel like I see that squirrel a lot, actually, so he's probably just chilling. It's probably his tree. Pick a safe word for us live chatters. If you're veering into a topic you don't want to talk about, we can call it out just in case to give you a heads up. The safe word is just going to be safe word. So if I start, I don't know, crying about something, you guys can be like, hey, you said you weren't going to do that. You said this was going to be a fun stream. I know, dog mode activated. I can't help it. I know, I literally did the oh my god squirrel thing that everyone talks about. I've been evaluated for ADHD and I don't have it. I'm hyper aware because I have anxiety, and that's why. That's like the overlap symptom. I do not have ADHD in other ways. Although I literally don't think I've dated somebody that hasn't had ADHD in like over 10 years. So like maybe some of their behavior just rubs off. I don't know. Okay, somebody donated something and I can't see what it is. Why can't I see it? This is so annoying. Okay, it's from Twixie, who says, happy birthday. I'm loving drunk Evie rants. Please more. Yes, absolutely. I don't know why it's not showing up. I can see it. It's so dumb. Oh, is this why? Haha. Yes, more rants. Listen, if you give me a subject to rant about, I'll fucking rant about it. I'm full of rants. I am primarily motivated by rants. I'm fueled by rants. I'm fueled by rage. Underneath this thin veneer of compassion is a hungry rage monster. I was never huge on alcohol. I just don't get why Max is a glass of very good wine, because sometimes it's tasty and pretty good, but that's it. No, I'm not into alcohol either. Like, I don't just, like, drink a beer. I don't, like, drink on dates or whatever. But, like, some days you're like, you know what? It's going to be my fucking birthday. And I want to have a fun time. And my roommate has a stupid coconut rum he's not going to drink. So I might as well mix it with some lemonade and then, like, have a good time. And then we're having a great time. And that's it. My B-day is the 17th. Happy birthday. Happy to be a Cancer to society. Oh, my God, Amber. Oh my god. Okay, so anyone who wants to know some of my astrology bullshit. Cancer, Sun, Gemini, Moon, Virgo, Rising. I literally just watched Aphrodite earlier today, and he told me that travel was going to be really important to me this month, and that is like the new year. I'm overturning a new leaf. It's going to be transformation, travel. What I focus on this month is going to be like the focus for the rest of the year. It's a big to do. July's a big month for me. Okay, everyone, it's going to be a big deal. Man, what a time to get your first live stream. I don't normally I take any substances while streaming, but I'm glad that you like it. I have had really bad experiences smoking pot. I'm going to be honest. I tried it after it became legal here because it was legal. Never before, only after it was legal. Okay, don't freak out. And, oh, sorry, microphone. And I just didn't get it. It just made me, like, really paranoid, and then I thought I was dying for, like, 5 hours. And then I was like, why the fuck do people do this? Edibles occasionally I'll do, because they don't... But I get, like, I'm so prone to the psychoactive effects of weed that, like, it just messes me up really bad. Like, I just hallucinate really bad. Like, if my dog's downstairs, I can, like, hear my dog's collar upstairs in my room. I just, like, I can hear... I get, like, super bad hearing. I get, like, it's just really... It's not fun. I have to, like... The only time I take edibles is right before I'm about to sleep. Or if I'm about to play video games sometimes. And I don't care about if I die. That's it. Question. How does Bandit deal with fireworks? She doesn't care. She's a super, like, solid little rock of a dog. It's awesome. She's like, whatever. I don't care about fireworks. Are humans here? Awesome. That's all I care about. She's totally fine with fireworks. She basically, if she's outside and a firework goes off, she gets a little bit more spooked. But if she's inside, she doesn't even, like, wake up. She's like, whatever. She just doesn't care. She gets more freaked out if we're walking on, like, a street and she sees, like, a black garbage bag, like, flowing in the wind. That freaks her out more than fireworks do. I don't know what that means necessarily, but she doesn't care about fireworks. Though I am worried about fireworks for this 4th of July because I don't know where the fireworks are around here, if we're close to them or not. So I will be very much keeping her inside and keeping an eye on her because 30% of all lost pets happen on 4th of July. So keep your pets indoors, keep them safe, keep an eye on them. You don't want to have to be hunting around for your dog or your cat on July 5th, you know? Crazy straws and cocktails. Is that what they're called? Are they called crazy straws? Hell yeah, I want crazy straws. The height of a culture. Now, listen, I am a man of culture. Okay? I am a man of culture. And I love crazy straws. Yeah, Genoa. Or Genoese. Like a Genoese sponge. Alright, I can just go to fucking Google. We can learn how to pronounce Genoa. Wait, what? Is it pronounced like with a Z? Wait, what the fuck? What is this?
Genova.
Genova. Genova. Ah, it's like Spanish. The emphasis falls at the penultimate syllable. So it's Genova. Genova. I see. Locally. Ligurian? Oh, it's a whole other Italianic language. Genoese. Like a Genoese sponge. I see. Oh my gosh, we've learned some things. All right, Google, hit me with your best shot. All right, I don't want the American. How do the British fucking say it? Probably some way that's dumb.
Genoa.
Genoa. Genoa. We're going to Genoa, love.
Genoa.
I can't do accents while I'm drunk. I'm sorry. I can kind of do accents normally. All right, it's not that complicated actually. I was deceived. Yeah, only recorded streams on Twitch. I'm not, like, currently live on Twitch. Or I shouldn't be, at least. I had so many bad experiences with weed. It's weird as someone who's done so much harder. Weed isn't perfectly safe for everyone, at least from a mental perspective. Yeah, it's not that, like, it's, like, dangerous from, like, I think I'm gonna die perspective. It's just, like, mentally smoking it wasn't good. Although, to be fair, the time I smoked weed, I was with a partner at the time who just, like, hit the fucking sativa constantly. So it was probably, like, 100%, like, hardcore sativa thing. And if I had just, like, other weed, it would probably be fine. But the sativa and me did not get along whatsoever. I'm like, hey, if you're into it, if it helps you, if smoking helps you, if edibles help you, if whatever helps you, I'm all for it. No judgment. Listen, we all gotta live in this fucking society. And sometimes this society fucking sucks. And if The way you do that is with a little bit of, a little bit of something, something. I'm not gonna judge you. Just, don't hurt yourself or other people. That's it. Have you seen Bigfoot since he moved? Is Bigfoot meant to be where I live? I wouldn't know that. I don't think I've seen Bigfoot. No. I haven't looked very hard. There is a Sasquatch themed pizza place and a coffee shop not too far from where I live though. So maybe soon. Maybe he's been spotted locally. Ajax asks, would you recommend Conquer Me to a dom dealing with a sub who acts out? Happy B-Day, your channel's a huge help. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to help Ajax. It can help. I think it can help you understand some of the motivations behind acting out. I would recommend actually that you guys read it together, assuming they haven't read it already, because the acting out can come from multiple places. It could be that they're being bratty. It could be that they do have those conquer me feelings and they need to be reassured the boundaries in a relationship. It could be that they're fucking mad at you and don't know how to use their language. It could be that they want their relationship to end and they're sabotaging it. Not to get into catastrophic detail. But, in the world of many possibilities, there are many possibilities. I think that's a good book to read. But if you're going to read it, I wouldn't read it just you. I would have you both read it. So that way they can maybe also understand their own feelings and acting out better. And then you guys can have more of like an understanding and a conversation that's coming from like both of you having the same like groundwork of having read that book. Does that make sense? Good question though. I love it. Happy birthday, Flawless. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Your content is my escape. Thank you for all you do. Oh my God. I'm so glad. I love making content. I don't necessarily make it to be like an escape for people, but if people find my content comforting and like it helps you get through your day, I love that. I love that. I definitely watch YouTube videos of comfort. I love watching YouTube videos when I'm doing craft projects or cleaning around the house or when I have a bad day. And if I can do that for other people, that makes me so happy. It makes me so, so happy. Okay. Keep those questions coming. I think I'm about to have to pee. So I'm going to go take care of that now before it becomes a dire issue. And we'll be right back in like a minute or two. How about that? How does that sound? All right. Keep asking your questions. We'll get to them. Don't worry. This is unlimited stream. So I'm just going to keep streaming for as long as I feel like we're not necessarily going to be done right at 8. We're just going to keep the party going. So ask your questions. Stick around. I will be right back. Hey bitches, I'm back. Okay, I'm trying to get my dog to come back with me because she followed me, and now she's not wanting to follow me back. So I'm gonna take care of that first. Come on, come on, little dog, come on. Where are you? Where are you, sweetie dog? Hey, come on, come upstairs. I know you want to be outside, but you gotta be listening to me for a little bit. Come on. Now you come on. Come on. I will carry you upstairs. No, come on. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. Ugh, I'm way too dark to be carried upstairs. I know. Ha ha ha. I have captured you once again. Tiny dog. I have captured you once more. Ho 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 ho. You are here. You fell for my trap card. Ha ha ha. She really wanted to be outside, but I can't have her be outside right now because it's complicated. I'm not getting into the reasons. It's just she needs to be in this room with me right now. Okay, my roommates are doing shit. She has to be in here. That's it. That's the answer. The only details y'all are getting. I am an enigma. How did you guys survive without me? I need to. Well, I wouldn't mind normally, but like, her roommates are doing stuff and they don't want the dog around, so like, she has to be in my office, okay? But she's a little cutie patootie. She is a baby. You are my little baby, huh? You are the littlest of babies. I know. Oh, she's getting all the cuddles. I was actually gonna give her a bath earlier today, and then I ran out of time. Maybe tomorrow I'll give her a bath. Because we need to be clean, little dog. It is the bandita. This is what she does all day. Just licks my hand over and over again. All right, next question. So you want to roleplay Heidi? Like Sound of Music, or like, I don't even know what other Heidi there would be. Or fucking Shirley Temple? Is that what it is? I don't remember. The answer is no. There are cheap cruises, and NCL has solo cabins if you want to escape to a warm beach. I will keep that in mind. Yes, it is almost my birthday. My birthday is July 5th. Germany has beaches? Oh, like ocean beaches? Oh no, Buddha me's the bottom of the chat. Okay, if you guys asked a question I haven't gotten to it yet, now would be a really great time for you to re-ask it because I got too many messages and now I can't see anything. Oh my god, there's so many people who are trying to message me. Oh my god. Everyone. Nick is a dick. I agree. Don't be like Nick. Nick's like, oh my god, I'm more important than all of your friends are. I don't care about your friends. So just don't be like Nick. Don't date a Nick. Don't be around a Nick. Call out Nicks whenever you see a Nick. That's my advice. Trigger potential. Do you like Fireball? I have lots of college memories of Fireball. How about that? I wouldn't say that I like Fireball. There's Fireball downstairs I could utilize, but I am not. Though I'm aromantic, I have no idea of actual dating. I mean, hey, that's fine. If you can float in a tub or pool after a long flight, it helps with jet lag, does it? I didn't know that. Very interesting, Rom. Oh my gosh, are you named after the Deep Space Nine, the Star Trek character, or is that just a complete coincidence? Oh my gosh, I love that. I will definitely share my experience to getting Nexplanon. I'm getting it because I don't trust the government. And because I have no intentions of having children anywhere in the near future. And I was recently looking at like long range data. And I'll have a video where I talk about all this in detail. Because I can't remember all of it right now, obviously. I was looking at the long range data for how many unintended pregnancies happen on various levels of or types of birth control over like a 5-year and a 10-year span. Not just the 1 year, which is what's normally quoted for when you get birth control, right? Is, oh, this birth control with perfect use is 98% effective, which means with perfect use, only 2 women out of 100 will get pregnant within a year. However, like typical use is more like 91 out of 100 in 1 year, which by the time you get to 5 years is more like 60 out of 100. And so it's like, it ends up being just like a really bad numbers game. And like, everything I keep reading about Nexplanon is that it's more effective in some cases, if not just as effective as like hormonal IUDs, but you don't have to worry about your uterus perforating. And it doesn't have to go in your fucking vagina or into your uterus at all, which is a great bonus. They actually numb you when they insert it, which is not always true for getting an IUD here in America. And it lasts for 3 years, and it just seems like a really good overall plan, and it's really small, and why the fuck not, basically. So I'm getting that done on July 9th. So I will definitely talk about it after I get it done. I've done a lot of reading about like the various like side effects and things that can happen with getting it, and like I honestly, it's so individual at this point. I would never get like Depo-Provera. I would never get like the hormone, the shot, because I just know too many people that have bad experiences. But every individual thing is different. Actually, the progesterone that is in the Nuva ring is the same progesterone that's in Nexplanon, which is a progesterone only birth control. It doesn't have any estrogen in it at all, or estrogen if you prefer. And so I think it shouldn't be too much of a big deal to transfer from one to the other, because I already know how my body reacts to that particular version of progesterone, even if it's delivered by a different thing. So I'm hoping that'll make it a little bit easier to transition from one to the other, but like honestly, who the fuck knows. I've also had like moles removed and stuff because I'm really pale, and so you know, skin cancer is very much a thing I have to be aware of. So like if I'm okay getting like a mole punched out of my body, I feel like I'm probably okay getting a little 2mm piece of fucking plastic inserted into my body, you know? Like, I'm just not worried about it, to be honest. It'll be fine as long as I can't see it. But, you know, I was very, very lucky I was able to get one done. I just think a lot of people don't consider it as, like, an option. Like, a lot of people either have, like, the pill or, like, IUDs are the most popular option. And I really feel like Nexplanon is something that a lot of people are overlooking. And I think if you're worried right now about having access to long-acting birth control, Nexplanon even potentially may have its time range increase from 3 years to 5 years. So it could actually be even more long acting from that, and I'm excited about the possibilities with that. So you know, who knows? By the time I get to my 2nd year, it may end up being that I can wear it for, you know, another 3, which would be really awesome. So yeah, I will do a full video about that once it happens, but you know, I'm prepared to deal with any of the side effects if they end up being unmanageable after like a couple of months, you know, 2-3 months. Then I'll just get taken out, and it is not really that big of a deal for me. I've had worse things happen to my body for fun, so not really that worried about it, I guess. Anyways. Inserted plastic. It's fantastic. Yeah, exactly. Listen, we're already getting inundated with microplastics, so why not something else, you know? We have control over this. I actually don't think it's plastic. I think it's something that's completely inert. It's probably silicone or something. I have no idea. Talk about BDSM and polyamory. Is having multiple doms a thing? It is, in fact, a thing, dear Jacob Paul. It is very much a thing. It's not super common. A lot of... Okay, I gotta put my dog down because I have a rant. I have a fucking rant. I'm gonna lock my door. That's how much of a rant I have. No one interrupt me. I'm gonna rant. Never mind. You guys can interrupt me. I don't want other people in this house interrupting me. No one in this house better fucking interrupt me. Here's the fucking deal. There is a double standard in the kink and poly communities when it comes to multiple submissives versus multiple doms, and multiple female partners versus multiple male partners. Both with multiple submissives and multiple females, there's like this expectation that you all get along and you super like each other and you're like totally friends or whatever, and you completely like just totally get along, and you would like totally do like a triad threesome with like your mutual male partner for his pleasure, and like that's just sort of the standard of the expectation. That shit drives me fucking crazy. I don't want to have anything to do with the two of you and the V. Just leave me the fuck alone. Whereas with male partners and with doms, like they're kind of expected to not interact with each other and like not be friends, and that's fine. And it's just sort of funny, like we put all this pressure on like especially female people and presenting people and non-binary people, I think, also to deal with this. in poly relationships. So you have to like be super friendly, you have to be friends with all your metamors, you have to be very welcoming, and it's like, fuck, I'm so like fucking tired of having to be friends with everybody's like temporary hookups. Like, just unless they're important, leave me out of it. That's my opinion. It is obviously, it's possible to have multiple doms, but I think that even in polyamorous spaces, I think men can kind of get away with like expecting / demanding like more uniqueness in their role in a relationship with you than the reverse. Like, it just sort of is like, oh, well, of course I have multiple girlfriends, and you know, you're allowed to have a girlfriend too, but you can't have another guy, or I'm the one that's allowed to be your dom, right? And actually I had a conversation with somebody earlier about this, about you know, well, if you ever had like a female partner that's like, you know, had their other male partner over, and like you could hear them having sex, and they've literally been poly for like 20 years at this point, and they were like, no, it's never happened. And I'm like, fucking exactly. That's like day one of being a female in polyamory, is like having to hear your male partners have sex with other women, whereas like most men in polyamory never have to confront that literally at all. And it's like, well, that's why poly is easier for you as a man, is because you literally never have to think about or confront the parts of it that are the most emotionally difficult to deal with. So that might be why you're totally fucking sailing through all this stuff, you know? But, and also they tend to be more restrictive. I can get away with, I think, being more restrictive in terms of like, I'm the only one penis, only one dom, only one to be your dom, blah, blah, blah. More so than the reverse. And I think it is like, just thinking in terms of sheer logistics, it is easier to have multiple submissives than it is to have multiple doms. But I think the reason also partially why it's so skewed is just because of the, oh my gosh, thank you so much, and Dickman.
$20. Happy almost birthday.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to PDX. Enjoy the sunshine, if that is your thing.
Yes, I love the sunshine. I'm obsessed. I love the asexual vitamin D that comes from the sun. I very much enjoy that. So thank you. Very much welcome. I definitely know people have multiple doms. I think the way that it has to work is either they have to be, the two doms have to be partners with each other, and it's like a mommy dom and a daddy dom working together, or like two doms working together in some fashion. Or it has to be something that's a little bit more hierarchical, where it's like, or where it's more separated, right? Where like you can't have two 24/7 doms, because I think that, and I have a whole older video where I talk about this, I think, where it's like called like, can you have two doms or two masters or something? Like, you have to have some sort of thing where it's like you have control here and you have control here. But if the areas of control overlap too much, either in terms of area or time or whatever, it gets a lot harder to manage. And let's just be honest, male doms can't deal with that. They're weak, and I will crush all of them in the marketplace of ideas, and also physically. Listen, if anyone's having a problem with their male dom, I will literally fight them. I will literally fight them for you, okay? You deserve better. That's my 2 cents. Whatever it is you're currently experiencing, you deserve better, okay? That's it. Any D&D players? Anyone know a kinky rule set? I've played D&D quite a bit. I don't think I've ever run into anyone that's literally doing like a kink campaign. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure people do that. It's just like, I've never been part of a D&D campaign where like sex, especially sex between characters, like kinky stuff between characters, is really a thing. It's more about the story and the adventure. Though again, I am quite sure it happens. Is it normal that I'm into BDSM and mad kink stuff at 18 and I have a lot of experience since turning 18? Everyone at Local Munches are way older and under my age. That's totally normal. A lot of people, like, I think it's a generational difference. I think a lot of people who are older didn't have, like, the openness or the opportunity to discover BDSM because they didn't have access to, like, conversations about it online, or the books, or the educational resources, or FetLife. And so there were just lots of, like, there were, like, fewer opportunities to actually really learn about what it is, like, kink was and what it meant and if it was possible to do or not. And, you know, unless you were really, really into it enough to, like, be part of a mailing list or join a Usenet group or whatever, like, it was really hard to get to know people that were also into it and gain that experience. Also, a lot of people, like, they get married young, they have kids young, they're really devoted to their careers, they have a more public-facing job, and so they can't really get into kink in a public way until they're a little bit more mature in their career, in their life. You know, maybe their kid's a little bit older. They don't have to hire a babysitter every single time they want to go outside the house. So I think it's also part of it as well. There are definitely, if you're really new, I recommend looking for TNG, that stands for The Next Generation, kink groups in your area. Pretty much everywhere has at least one where you can go, and it is tailored for people that are in that 18 to 35 age bracket, for people that are just getting started into kink and discovered it at a younger age. I personally, for me, it's not about how old you are, it's about how many years of experience you have in the scene. I know people that are in their early 60s or late 50s that only have a couple of years of experience in the scene. I know people that are 25 that have 7 years of experience. So it really, you know, it's not really an absolute age thing so much as it is how much time have you actually spent doing BDSM, you know, for sure. Oh my gosh, I'm making vegan katsu curry? How did it turn out, Kiao Meow? Let me know. That's so exciting. I've never made, I don't think I've ever made katsu curry before. I should probably have some food. I'm just like not hungry. I've had like really bad anxiety since Roe v. Wade got overturned, and I just haven't been hungry. Like I've pretty much like my meals have been like, and I'm sorry, this is so triggering for anyone with a history of anorexia, but like my meals have been like, I've had like a tortilla with like hummus, and that's been like my food. And I know I shouldn't do that. Like literally nothing else sounds good. Everything else sounds like it's gonna make me sick. I feel nauseous all the fucking time, and it's really annoying. And it's like, I've tried Pepto, I've tried all the stuff that normally helps you like get rid of nausea, and it's just pure anxiety. It's just like, I can't help it. I'm just really anxious, and until the world starts being all this fucking bullshit, that's how it's gonna be. So we're just rolling and we're dealing with it. That's pretty much it. Fuck the Supreme Court. Fuck. Don't do anything that you wouldn't do in Minecraft. You know, protesting is cool, make your voice heard, vote, blah blah blah, all that lib shit. But like, it's hard to not feel like despondent over like something that you really didn't want to have happening anyway, even though you actively voted against it your entire adult voting life, and then it just like still happens. Luckily, I live in a state that's like pretty cool, and so I'm not really worried about like any sort of access that I might need in the future being restricted. I just worry about like, I go to Planned Parenthood for a lot of my like care concerns. Like I've gone there for getting Gardasil. I've gone there for when I've had like health concerns about like if I've had like lumps or something wrong that I thought might have been an indication of like endometriosis, like cervical cancer. I go there for my pap smears. I've gone there for getting, you know, STI testing in the past, and I'm just really worried about those not being accessible or being like dangerous to go to, you know, on top of everything else, obviously, but that's like my personal concern more so than anything else. Okay, next question. Not gonna dwell on Roe v. Wade getting overturned, a thing I thought I would never see in my entire lifetime, and makes me upset and angry and makes me want to Minecraft things. I know this is a silly question, but what kind of hair dye do you use? I use black hair dye. No, I go to Sally's, and I think it's called Sally's Beauty Supply. I do their stuff. I've done like the box dyes in the past if I can't. There's like not like a Sally's near me or they're out of stock stuff. But Sally's Beauty Supply, and it's like intense black for like dark colors or something. It's like meant for. That's the most recent one that I used, and it was like really good, and it's lasted really well. What the fuck is it called? I'm looking at Sally's Beauty Supply right now for you. I'm gonna give you the hookup, okay? But the short answer is that I go to Sally's, and I've tried like a couple different. I get the volume 10, the 10 volume developer, because I'm not trying to lift any color because I don't need to like bleach it beforehand. So I just get the 10 volume, and that works pretty well for my hair because I'm basically just. Okay, why the fuck does this 5-minute hair color for men? Okay, I'm gonna put this in the fucking chat. Does this not look like a weird knockoff Benedict Cumberbatch? Am I losing my mind? Does this not look like a knockoff Benedict Cumberbatch to you, or like what? Am I crazy, or does this like knockoff? Okay. Does this not? Am I crazy? This looks like knockoff Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't even know, okay? What's happening? I don't. Okay, I'm trying to find what the name of the exact hair color is. But I usually get like a purple black if I can find it, or a blue black. I'm actually thinking about doing purple in my hair, or doing like a dark like black purple. I'm trying to find the exact like, and I prefer the cream colors, but I'll buy the liquid if the other stuff isn't in stock, because sometimes they only have like the natural blacks in stock, and that yeah, it's called True Tones for Dark Hair is what it's called. True Tones for Dark Hair. And then I don't remember what the actual like specific color of it was. It was either the blue black or probably like whatever the color Brilliance by Ion True Tones for Dark Hair. That's what it's called. That's it. That's all I got. And last time I dyed it was probably like 6 weeks ago, so it's actually been sticking really well. I've been very happy with it. Especially because I've been out in the sun a lot, and I've been expecting it to fade faster because of that, but it's actually been really good. It's been like super dope. Can BDSM and a relationship work together well? Oh my gosh, absolutely, Harley. Some people like having their BDSM separate from their vanilla relationships, and they have like a romantic partner, a sexual partner that's not kinky, and then they have like a kink partner that is kinky with them, obviously, and they don't have the romantic or sexual components, but you can also combine them together. Like, you can have a BDSM relationship that's like kink and then romance but no sex, or sex and then kink and no romance, or sex and romance and kink all together as like one unit. It totally depends on the individual how you happen to combine those two. Personally, all my long-term BDSM relationships have included a like vanilla romantic and or sexual connection along with the BDSM. But not everyone works that way. Some people want to have that separation between their relationships, especially if they're in like an existing vanilla marriage or a really long-term partnership that their partner isn't like open to doing BDSM with them for whatever reason, which is also valid. But it can work. Just depends on the individual and what they're hoping to get out of the experience. Remember, this is an unlimited live stream. I'm going for as long as I feel like. So don't worry, we're not going to be over in 10 minutes. We may be over in 20 minutes. We may be over in an hour. I don't know. You guys are running this train. I don't know what's happening. I'm drinking coconut rum and lemonade. That's my vice. I see it, especially when he's Doctor Strange. It does poor man's Benedict Cumberbatch. Okay, I'm glad that other people can see it. Potential body double. Listen, I hope he's finding work in Hollywood. I wish him the best. What is the first sure way to figure out if you're ace? Do you experience sexual attraction to other human beings? If the answer is yes, you could be Demi or Gray A, but you're probably allosexual. I am somebody that has experienced sexual attraction very, 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 very rarely. Like, out of all the partners I've dated, it's happened like 1.5 times. So I don't generally experience sexual attraction. That's not what motivates my relationships. It's really fucking obvious as soon as I talk to anybody else about what they want from their relationships or how they organize their lives that I'm clearly not the norm. So that makes it really obvious to tell that I'm asexual with how much I care about sex or don't care about it, as it so happens to be. But the only really sure way to know is by introspection and by asking yourself, do you desire sex with other humans that are not you? Not just masturbation fantasies, not just erotica that you've read, not just porn you've watched, but actually in real life, do you want to have sex with other individual adult humans? And if the answer is yes, you're probably not asexual. And if the answer is no, you might be, but there's some follow-up questions there that go along with it, because having a low sex drive is not the same thing as being asexual, because oftentimes when you have a low sex drive, there's a lot of distress that comes with that in terms of like wishing and wanting you could have sex with a person but not being physically able to, as opposed to being asexual, where you can experience guilt and shame, but it's because you're not experiencing the sexual attraction that other people are expecting you to feel, as opposed to feeling the feeling but not being able to act on it. Does that make sense? I got a little Jacksepticeye from the photos. Oh my god, you're so right. It's like Benedict Cumberbatch meets Jacksepticeye. You're so right. You're so right. I completely agree with that. If I'm ace and never had sex, should I still get pap smears and other types of hell checks? Yes, absolutely. You should still get Gardasil. You should still get Pap smears. You can contract HPV from like toilet seats. Like it's a little bit less common. And different people carry different strains and stuff. But you should absolutely still get Pap smears. You should absolutely still get Gardasil. Now, if that's something that makes you physically uncomfortable, if it, because it involves at least some degree of physical penetration to get a Pap smear, make sure you communicate that to your health service provider. They will absolutely be able to accommodate you and help you make it a more comfortable experience to prevent any uncomfortable feelings. But you should absolutely get those types of health checks for sure. Now, in terms of getting STI testing and stuff, that might not be necessary, but getting a routine Pap smear, getting a Gardasil vaccine if you don't have one already, because those things can be affected by other things that are not just sex. Even if you're not having sex, you absolutely should still be getting them done for sure. I'm a spec person with a ridiculous high sex drive. It's ridiculous. Well, exactly, right? This is the thing. This makes people who aren't asexual really confused. They're like, what are you doing? How is that possible? You can absolutely be an asexual person and have a high sex drive. But the thing is when you have a high sex drive and you're asexual, it's not steered towards I want to have sex with this random hot person at a bar I just met, or I want to meet somebody I can hook up with on Tinder. You don't have that drive towards having sex with other individuals. It's you just have this higher intense biological need that needs to be fulfilled in the same way that you gotta trim your bangs and cut your nails and I don't know, wear sunscreen or whatever. It's just a need, a thing you gotta take care of biologically to make sure your body is operating at optimum performance or whatever the fuck. It certainly is a combination that a lot of people find to be unusual, but absolutely happens. Because having a sex drive is not the same thing as experiencing sexual attraction or not. You can be an allosexual person and have a low sex drive and feel a desire and attraction towards other people but not be able to act on it. You can be an allosexual person and have a high sex drive. You can be an ace person and have a high sex drive and just have your sex drive not be directed at other people. And you can be an ace person and have a low sex drive and not really think about it at all. I'm sort of between. I'm asexual and I have a mid to low sex drive, I feel like. But it depends on my romantic relationship. If I don't have a romantic connection to anybody, I don't care about sex. I don't think about it. I don't care. I'm not looking for it. It's whatever. But if I'm in a romantic relationship with an allo person for whom sex is important, then that sort of modifies it a little bit. But not everyone's that way. It's very individual. Oh my gosh, thank you for the happy birthday wishes. Thank you so much. We're going to keep asking or answering. Well, you guys can keep asking. I'm not going to ask questions. Maybe I will. Maybe we'll reverse this stream and you guys can answer my questions for once. Okay, let me see. The T on relationship anarchy right now. Thank you for addressing. Sometimes it can be done the way. Oh, absolutely. I should clarify. People who do relationship anarchy, they're probably mostly fine, but there are a lot of men that do relationship anarchy because they want to be able to have as many partners as possible and be unaccountable for their unemotional availability or non-availability, right? It's oh my gosh, you guys can see my dog. Look right there where I'm pointing. What are you doing, a tiny dog? Are you scratchy? Are you itchy? The answer is yes. But yeah, the relationship anarchy is just a hot mess. I personally consider it to be a soft red flag if I see it on a profile, just because I need to ask follow-up questions and figure out their relationship history, because oftentimes I find that if people have that, it's a philosophy that they follow, they probably already have 6 partners that they maybe don't pay a lot of attention to. Is relationship anarchy a haven for people with avoidant attachment disorder? Possibly. Do I have any evidence to support that in terms of scientific literature? Not necessarily. Would I like to do that one day? Yes. I definitely think it is there. Being unaccountable is the opposite of how to do any poly relationship. I mean, yes, but somebody should tell the fucking relationship anarchist that. There's definitely people that get into RA because they think it's a way to avoid accountability. And they're like, listen, your feelings are not my problem, and you really need to meditate on this and think about how this is affecting me and my other relationships before you come to me and talk to me about your relationship problems. Because a lot of guys that just like, they expect their partners to do all of the emotional labor of their relationships for them, so that way they don't have to do any, and it's like really messed up. Bandit is our hero. You're absolutely right. You're totally right. Okay, next question. You said it right. It's spelled different, I know. Listen, I'm struggling over here. If I got it right, I am happy. I am a happy little clam. Would you say non-hierarchical poly probably uses extensive communication with each dynamic to discuss the other relationships and how they affect each other, versus decisions from hierarchical? Communication should really be part of any poly relationship. I think that non-hierarchical kind of requires more open communication, just because there is so much more that can be in flux and so much more that is on the table for possibilities. And sometimes people do use non-hierarchical poly as a way to avoid open communication, because they're like, well, I'm the primary, so this, that, and the other. And they're only the secondary, so you're not allowed to do this, that, and the other. Like, they kind of use it as a way to avoid negotiations and conversations. Not all the time. Sometimes it's just legitimately what works for the person. But it can't happen that way. But yes, any poly is going to require having extensive communication. And of course, but there's also, like, we talked about with, like, the boundaries earlier, right? Like, there's boundaries for certain things that, like, if you don't want to hear about them because it makes you uncomfortable, again, look, it matches the background. Look at how beautiful and amazing this is. If you don't want to hear about certain things or participate in certain things, you definitely don't have to if you're not emotionally available for that. Like, a lot of people sort of expect that, like, in RA or in non-hierarchical poly, RA meaning relationship anarchy, that, like, you're going to want to hear about, like, all of their sexcapades with other partners, or that you're going to want to have, like, threesomes and orgies or whatever. And if you're not down for that, that's not, like, in your realm of possibilities, and you don't want to, like, emotionally handle that, that's totally fine. That's totally okay. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You're allowed to say no to that stuff, and it doesn't make you, like, less poly or less whatever, okay? You're allowed to say no to hearing certain things. Now, it's one thing if you're, like, sort of constructing a don't ask, don't tell relationship, even when you don't ask and you don't tell. If that makes sense. Like, there's don't ask, don't tell that happens because, like, for me, like, with my partners, if I had partners, I would not want to hear about their sex with other people. That's always been, like, a boundary for me, because I don't want to hear about sex. I don't like hearing sex when it happens to me. I don't like hearing strangers have sex at BDSM parties. I don't like porn. I don't want to hear my partners have sex with other people. Like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. That's just me as an ace person dealing with my own repulsion and where, like, my level of repulsion is. And having to witness or hear about sex acts in detail is not something that I want to, like, bring on myself, so that's, like, a boundary for me. And, like, some people definitely have a problem with that and are like, oh my gosh, you're just trying to, like, avoid reality, and you're just trying to pretend something isn't happening, and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, it's just like, why would I torture myself, like, hearing about how, like, awesome your blowjob that you got last Friday was, when I literally don't care. Like, I don't care. I care more about the fact you had a nice dinner than I do about the fact that you had a good blowjob. I just can't be fucking bothered. They have other books they've published? What else have they published? Oh my god, they published Disarming the Narcissist? That's a good book. Oh my gosh, they have a book called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Why is that such a, like, a fucking necessary book? I feel personally attacked looking at that title. Leave me alone. I'm closing this book now. I've been called out via book title, and I don't like it. I'm in this photo, and I don't like it. All right, where are we at right now? What are we talking about? I don't know. There's still 100 of you hanging out. Thanks for being here and during my randomness and my silly little stream we have going on. Should you tell a partner all of your history? It depends on what they want to hear. Some people totally want to hear everything. Some people want to know all the details. Other people that are like me, it gets kind of squeaky to hear about people's sex acts. I don't really care about that. What I care about is, have you had a recent STI test, and what did that STI test say, and which things did you get tested? I don't care if you've had 10 partners, 100 partners, 1 partner. I care about the health and safety aspect, and I don't really need to know the details beyond that. other people are going to want to have more detail, but there becomes a balancing act between like wanting to have more detail as like a control thing and wanting to have more detail as like a just curiosity about this person's like life history, you know? Are the birds singing outside? I haven't heard any birds. I believe you though. I think compersion is helpful, though not obviously always necessary. I mean, yeah, compersion's great if you can make compersion happen, but like, you know, some people experience compersion and some don't, so. All right, next question. Evie, my wife recently came out as ace and I am allo, meaning allosexual, not asexual. She often feels insecure about this, but I'm dedicated to her. Do you have any suggestions on ways I can help support her? I mean, it's really like coming out as asexual can be a really difficult experience if you're afraid that it will in some way like fundamentally change your relationship. And I think part of it is just going to be developing that trust over time and being able to see that nothing is actually changing. You can ask her about what it is that she'd want to see, whether that be non-sexual physical affection, words of affirmation, maybe you doing more things around the house, gift giving, things like this, you know, going through all the sort of standard love language stuff. You can ask her and see what it is that she would want to have done to get that reassurance. But if you're like, I sort of feel like, well, if you're monogamous and you're like together and you're married, like there's only so much level of a threat that can really exist in that. It's not like you're going to replace her with somebody that's not asexual. Maybe she fears that. But if you can tell her, hey, you know, I love you. I'm dedicated to you. I want to be with you. I chose you. I'm going to keep choosing you. And I'm really, really happy you got to trust me. You were able to trust me with this really important information. I want to honor that. And how can I show you that I still love you and I still want to be with you? That would be how I would do it. I would ask them what they want to see because they probably know what would be the most reassuring versus the least reassuring, right? Because if they don't care about gifts and you're buying them gifts and you're getting them this, that, and the other, like that, for people who don't care about that, that's going to feel like bribery. It's not going to feel very comfortable. You know, you have to tailor the message and what you're doing for the reassurance to the person because it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. I mean, if you guys are married, you probably already know what that is, right? And really, I think part of it is just going to be, you know, that initial coming out phase can be really scary because you're anticipating something going wrong. You're anticipating rejection. You're anticipating people misunderstanding. You're anticipating people making assumptions. And if you can keep that door open for further conversations about what her asexuality means to her, what it means for your relationship, and you can handle that in a calm and measured way, that will go a really, really long way to developing that trust. But again, like if you guys are monogamous, if you're already married, there's only so much to really worry about, I suppose. So I wish you and your wife the best very much for sure. It can be a lot of stress to decide to come out as asexual or not. And it sounds like you want to be supportive and that's awesome. So, you know, if you're invested in being supportive and helping her find, you know, what she's comfortable with, that's really all you need to do. And that's really what you need to be doing. Anyways, again, I know it's after 8 o'clock, but we're just going to keep going because I'm nowhere near sober. So I'm probably going to go to sleep and I'm going to wake up and I'm still going to be drunk. The alias you set this command to be of Donos does not exist. What the fuck does that mean, Nightbot? All right, I got to figure out what that means when I'm not intoxicated. Yeah, I just saw a video about D&D classes in the bedroom. It was a joke, but then I thought about it, and it seemed kind of brilliant. I'm sure people do it. I've never experienced it, though. More power to them, though. As an aromantic, I never got the concept of romantic and especially monogamous relationships. It kind of is confusing. Being demi makes it funny. Oh, I'm sure. We're all just very funny little people. Poly and other relations give traditional relationship rap. They don't work most of the time because relationships are to be mutual. I don't know if I fully understand what that means.
But like poly or mono can work. Like I'm not one of those people that thinks like all humans are naturally polyamorous and it's just because of religion and society and the patriarchy that's made people monogamous. Like I think there are people who are naturally mono, naturally poly. There's people that are kind of in the middle that can go one way or the other, and people that have a preference one way or the other. I think it's always a spectrum. I think it's always a bell curve. That I think makes the most logical sense, as well as I think being kind of proven by the just reality of how people have relationships, I suppose. But I don't think it's like polyamory on purpose is like trying to give a bad rap to monogamous relationships. I just think that because monogamy is the dominant thing in society, there's lots of opportunities for the worst parts of it to be very prominent and on display in the way that people do things, in the way that they do their relationships, right? Like all of the really unnecessarily overly aggressive, I don't know, like whatever it is, the overly aggressive stuff. The controlling behavior, the monitoring, the like, oh, you gotta check your girl's text messages and make sure she's not cheating on you, like that kind of shit. But I don't. But also at the same time, I don't think monogamy necessarily gives like poly a bad rap either. I just think it's like whatever works for the individual people. That's what I want to see happen. All right. All right, let's answer another question. Sorry, I got distracted for a minute. DBT has to have ethical and experienced therapists because it can be very gaslighting and invalidating. Can it? Especially if you don't back up deconstructing kind of distortions of esteem. I've never had any problems like that experiencing or going through DBT therapy myself, Moxie. I totally believe you. Any type of therapy practice in like inappropriate hands can be used for very bad aims and meanings. So I totally get that. I've just personally never had that experience. I don't think it is even necessarily that way above and beyond like other forms of therapy, like hypnotherapy. Oh my god, if you try to do hypnotherapy and it's a therapist that you don't trust or has like a particular agenda, that can go to really bad places for sure. I could really use this book. I have a lot of problems expressing my needs. Is that book useful for aromatic as well? I haven't read enough of it to know. I think they have an ebook version of this, but again, the book is called The Better Boundaries Workbook, and it's by Sharon Martin, who is a master's of social work and a licensed clinical social worker. I got this from Shebop, but you can probably get this on Amazon and a bunch of other places as well if this is of interest to you for some reason. But we love boundaries around here. We love boundaries. It's great. This makes so much sense. I've never done poly, but I'm so drawn to the idea of cautiously exploring it at this point in my life. Also, yes, book. Yeah, I mean, you know what? You never know until you know. So, Frostfire, if you decide that you want to explore like open relationships or poly or whatever, it can be a lot of emotional work. I wouldn't recommend. So this is my caveat. And there's a motorcycle going outside. So, maybe they're doing donuts in the parking lot across the street. I don't know what they're up to exactly. But if you are somebody that has, a narrow emotional bandwidth, because maybe you're dealing with a lot of mental health issues, if you have trauma from a previous relationship, if you went through an abusive relationship, like if you've got a lot of baggage, then maybe you don't have like complete mental health support for, like maybe you don't have the medication that you need, or you don't have enough therapy, or you can't afford therapy. I wouldn't recommend leaping into poly if you don't have a fairly strong base of either support or just mental health being fairly strong in general, because it can be a lot of work. And I'm not saying that like people who are like mentally ill or have like a fucking, like chronic illness, I don't think that people like that can't be poly. I'm just saying I would advise like making sure that you have your support kind of in place before deciding to explore it, because it can be very, very intense and very overwhelming. And if you have like low self-esteem issues, if you have a history of self-harm, if you have a history of eating disorders, anything that sort of revolves around like perfectionism and self-worth and like a fear of abandonment, especially, those things can very, very much be triggered by poly. Even if you get into it and you're like, wow, this is going to be amazing, this is going to be so awesome, this is exactly what I want, even when you're under the best circumstances, because it's so outside of the norm of what most people do and see represented, there's going to be those growing pains as you get into it. And without that strong support base, you don't have the room you necessarily need to be able to navigate those pain points, let's say, if you don't have that basis of support already in place. You absolutely can. It is higher risk, though, and you have to be aware of that. And I wouldn't encourage people to take on more risk emotionally than they are actually equipped to deal with, because I am not in the business of causing people unnecessary emotional pain. But you can absolutely explore it. If you want to go on a couple dates, if you want to find this, that, and the other, totally go for it. I am always shiny, it's true. I've never been in a relationship, so I can't say for sure, but I may be poly, mostly just because I don't want my feelings for others to be shared by one person. I mean, totally. Like, a lot of people think that it sort of goes with asexuality, right? Where it's like the same deal of like, oh, well, if you're poly, if you're, you can only really know if you've tried this before, you really, really have tried that before. I think there's lots of people who know from kind of early on, even before they started dating, that like poly suits them more. I mean, you don't, it's sort of, I'm not even really sure, like, if you need to have a monogamous relationship experience first, sorry, by the way, about the noise with the straw there. I'm not even sure if you need to have, like, a monogamous relationship experience before you do poly, because poly can be so different. It can be. It's not always. Sometimes poly and monogamy look weirdly similar to each other, like, more so than you might expect. You don't necessarily need to have relationship experience if you're only ever interested in doing poly, like in monogamous relationships. But I think it helps more to have the introspection and knowledge of what you want, ability to set boundaries, ability to know where your like emotional limitations are in terms of like what you're willing to take on versus what you're not willing to take on and what you're available to do. And that's really the important component. Same thing with BDSM, honestly, though. Like, a lot of people are like, oh my god, I've never had a sex partner before, I'm a virgin, can I still do BDSM? And in my mind, they're so different that, like, I don't really think that having a sexual relationship, like, helps prepare you to do BDSM. I don't think you have to have sex with anyone before you do BDSM. I think it can be helpful from the perspective of like it gives you a particular place where a lot of people do practice like setting boundaries and saying no, but you don't have to have a sexual relationship to do that. You can do that within friendships. You can do that in romantic relationships. You can do that in like non-sexual relationships. So you don't need that. It just happens to be a place where most people tend to practice those skills. And as long as you kind of know where your limitations... I feel like I might need to pee again. And also my anxiety is really bad. I feel a little bit nauseous. But we're going to get through it, okay? We're going to get through it together. I'm going to be fine. But yeah, it's about... It's not about thinking that you can't do something because you've never done something else. It's not really related. But you have to acknowledge where you do and don't have experience. So if you don't have experience in like long-term romantic relationships or long-term sexual relationships, obviously that's going to affect what you are prepared for, like knowledge-wise, based on previous experience for BDSM relationships, but it's not like a disqualifier by any means. For some people it will be if they want to have like a sexual relationship as part of their kink, or they want to have a romantic relationship as part of their kink, but not everyone wants that. And you can totally just go and play with friends and have like friendly scenes and go to clubs and do stuff like that and not have it be anything that's, you know, more than just like hanging out and having fun with friends. I probably do need to eat some food, but I don't want to go downstairs because I'm scared of my roommates doing stuff downstairs. And then it'd be gone from you guys, and then we couldn't hang out anymore, and that would just be so sad. If more fairy tales taught kids about boundaries, though, I mean, really, though.
I like boundary, like learning, like seriously though, like learning how to set boundaries starts in childhood. I'm very pro like teaching kids how to say no, how to set boundaries, respecting their no, and teaching them that they should expect adults and other people to respect their no. Because I think that, especially as somebody who is, socialized as female or whatever phrase you want to use, I was very much taught sort of like ignore, and I don't think my parents intended this or anyone intended this, but it's sort of part of the social like sexual programming is that like my needs don't matter as much. I should be willing to go along with what the men around me want to do. And that saying no isn't polite. If having too many needs makes me needy, and that's also impolite. And like avoiding imposing on other people and setting up boundaries is kind of like a form of imposition, And if the language or what I had been taught as a child would have been different, I may have had a different experience growing up. I may be in a different place with my relationships or what it is that I do and don't want to do. But it's setting boundaries and learning how to set boundaries earlier is always better than trying to figure it out in like your 30s and adulthood, Not that you should give up hope and only do it if if you're a child or whatever, obviously not. Because that's what these workbooks are for. But I think having a really solid foundation for children is so, so, so important. Oh my gosh, I've never seen Jenny Nicholson's Why I'll Never Do ASMR. I love Jenny Nicholson though. I will totally watch that. That must be from a while ago. The most recent one she posted was about like Canadian church plays or something. And I'm a little scared, I gotta be honest. I'll be honest, I always get aggressive when people talk like this. It's just so fake that this time kind of triggers my anger receptors. Oh, like when you do like the reading voice, when it's like, I don't know, let me find out if I got a random thing. Can you relate to Keith or Cassandra or their partners? Most of us have been on both sides of a boundary issue with our partner. Like when it's like that kind of voice. I mean, I guess sometimes it's fake, but when I'm doing it, if my voice sounds that way, it's not fake. It's just I'm trying to speak slowly and like enunciate my words and make it easier to understand. I'm not trying to be fake, but I totally get what you're saying though, because like some people with ASMR voices, I'm like, y'all bitches are not like that. If you're comfortable, I'd love to hear how Nexaplon works for you. Your video on the ring helped me decide if it was something I'd be interested in after years with that I've been eyeing Nexaplon. Oh my gosh, it's so funny we're both thinking about Nexaplon at the same time. I will definitely let people know what my experiences are for sure. I haven't gotten it done yet, but I am getting it done on the 9th, so it is going to happen pretty soon. And maybe I'll do like sort of a very initial experience for like the first month, and then after like 3 or 4 months, I'll do like another follow-up video of like how everything happened. Because I think, people kind of discount, I think doctors discount like the initial first month of experiences when you are on a method of birth control or any medication really. If it really negatively affects your mental health, if it makes your depression really bad, if it makes you want to Minecraft yourself, if it makes you super, super anxious, if it makes it so you can't sleep anymore, like if it has really pronounced negative mental health outcomes, like then maybe you don't want to take it, right? Then maybe that decides you don't even have to want to deal with that, because especially if it triggers like a really bad depression episode in you, you might not have the motivation to make an appointment to get it removed, so that's something you got to consider as one of the factors, I think. So I think what I'll probably do is I'll do like sort of an initial like first month thinking about it, and then sort of my experience getting it and all that, and then like a retrospective after a couple months, like how it compares to Nuvaring. Because especially when I was very first on the Nuvaring for the first couple of months, I was really emotional. I cried really easily. Like I definitely had like really pronounced like emotional side effects from it. It wasn't anything that I couldn't personally handle, but for other people it maybe would have been too much. But it did end up leveling out after a while. So I think it's important to not just give people only the first impression or only the long term after being on it for like a year or two, because especially when you've been on it for a long time, it can be hard to remember like how hard it was to adjust at the very first. And sometimes that very first portion is really important if you are somebody that is maybe worried about those particular negative emotional side effects from switching birth control. Is he for United States Congresswoman or Governor of California? Well, I'm not in California, so that might be a little bit difficult. We've got a pretty good governor in California, so even for Congress. I appreciate your support. I have no interest in being involved in government whatsoever. I'm jaded. What can I say? Oh my gosh, it's 3 a.m. where you live? Oh, I could fall asleep right now. Sleepy time. Right here. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question and then I'm going to go to the bathroom again. Is there a phrase for submissive who goes between goody two-shoes, service subs? So goody two-shoes, so that's one. And then to total brass, like a sub switch. I wouldn't say there's like a specific label for that as far as like a word for people. Like there are people who do service that are also brats. And there's people who are submissives and are bratty in service and they're submissiveness. And then also do other things and they're like topping or doming. I don't think I've ever heard of a word that specifically describes going between those two points. I'm gonna be honest, it kind of reminds me of Sour Patch Kids, like the Sour Patch Kids commercials where it's like, first they're sour, then they're sweet, where it's like the bratty side is the sour part and then the goody two shoes is like the sweet part. So I sort of wonder if it's like that, where you want to say like, oh, like I'm a Sour Patch Kid. Like we're thinking about how to describe this to a partner, because it's not even really about like community expectations, I think, so much as it is, what do other people in the community think? What will other people think about me if I tell them about my relationship? And I would probably describe it like, I'm a Sour Patch Kid. Sometimes I'm sour and sometimes I'm sweet. That's how I would describe it if I wanted a cute little way to describe it real quick. Grab some food, water if you can while on your bio break. Okay, maybe I will do that. I'm gonna say that goody two shoes service sub to total brat thing. But both. So I will say, it's not switching because both bratting and service submission are a form of submission. If you're bratting and you don't feel submissive, then you're not bratting. You're topping from the bottom, and you're being a top. And you got to learn how to recognize the difference between topping from the bottom and bratting. Because a brat ultimately wants to remember what their place is in the hierarchy, and they want someone to force them to remember what the place is in the hierarchy and have that boundary set for them, as opposed to like wanting to overcome their partner and really be the one who's in control. So maybe think about that one for a little bit. But it's not being a sub switch because brats aren't tops and service subs aren't tops. It's always being a bottom. It's always being a submissive. It just is different flavors of doing that same thing. But I am pro voting for the Sour Patch Kids explanation. If you have any questions, Mary Ann, is that your name? Mary Ann? Feel free to ask. I'm just going to take a really, really, really quick break. I promise I'm trying to get to as many questions as I possibly can. Go ahead, leave your question, and I will be right back, I promise. right, we're back. I almost pressed stop streaming, but we didn't, so we're fine. Thank you to everyone that is left on the stream. I appreciate you continuing to tune in. If you're still here, go ahead and give the live stream a thumbs up, because that's what YouTubers are supposed to ask you to do. And I am but a humble, cloud-hungry YouTuber. So, what else am I supposed to ask for? Bad news. Couldn't find any snacks that I wanted to eat. Nothing sounds good. So lemonade and coconut rum is what we're sticking with, I suppose. Maybe I'll make toast later? Whatever. I'm always going to do this until I fall asleep, to be honest. All right, next question. I wish I had like the gavel like sound effect, you know? That's what I want. It should be like, court is in session. You can't die from horniness. How is that a need, Maslow? I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I could probably look it up. Why was sex in Maslow's hierarchy? And they don't normally teach you this in school because it involves the word sex. And so they pretend it's not on there, but it definitely fucking was. Maslow's hierarchy places sex in the needs category along with food and breathing. It lists sex solely from an individualistic perspective. For example, sex is placed with other physiological needs which must be satisfied before a person considers higher levels of motivation. Is Maslow's hierarchy of needs really an accurate labeling of sex as physiological need? I don't know. Definitions of needs and motives are a dime a dozen, though we don't necessarily agree with all the ingredients. I like how well explicated the criteria by Baumeister and Larry in 1995 are, according to whom a fundamental need should produce effects readily under all but adverse conditions, have effective consequences, direct cognitive processing, lead to ill effects when thwarted, elicit goal-oriented behavior designed to satisfy it, such as subject to motivational patterns such as object substitutability and satiation, be universal in the sense of applying to all people. Asexuals have entered the chat. Not be derivative of other motives, affect a broad variety of behaviors, and have implications that go beyond immediate psychological functioning. To me, sex meets several of these criteria, i.e. it clearly directly affects cognition, is universal-ish, they said it, asexuality notwithstanding, a point to return to in a moment, but is questionable for a couple that, in my case, are crucial for a bona fide need status. First, it is not clear that thwarting of sex desire leads to ill effects. Here, Baumeister and Larry are referring to big-ticket consequences, not effective tiddlywinks. In their words, a motivation could be considered to be fundamental only if health, adjustment, or well-being requires that it be satisfied. Also, motivations can be sorted into wants and needs, the difference being in the scope of ill effects that follow from non-satisfaction. Unsatisfied needs should lead to pathology, medical, psychological, or behavioral. Okay, what's the difference between psychological and behavioral? I'm going to need to phone a friend on that one. Unlike unsatisfied wants. And while it is true that sexual frequency is positively associated with well-being, the benefits eventually, quote, level out. And there's not a clear link between a lack of sex and more serious medical or psychological pathology. And when one considers the occasional medical mental health costs of engaging in sex, thank you for the follow, by the way, or the considerable efforts people go to sometimes conceal their sexual activity, it's not at all clear that engaging in sex is always a plus for mental or physical well-being. It's also debatable whether the need for sex is its own drive or rather derivative of other bona fide needs, status, motives. Take Medston and Buss's 2007 work on identifying reasons, over 250, people give for engaging in sex. And when you look at their list of the top 50 endorsed reasons, many of which are similar for both men and women, many of them seem to be about other drives, motives that may be more fundamental. Social, relational, growth-oriented, etc. This issue spills over into the ill effects discussion as well. Even in situations where a lack of sex co-occurs with more serious pathology, it's difficult to decisively isolate the pathology as a byproduct of the lack of sex, specifically as opposed to deficits in other fundamental needs, i.e. belonging and security. TLDR, sex is probably better thought of as a strong, widely shared want rather than a bona fide need. There you go. That's the really long ass fucking like stack exchange answer to that question. I hope that you all enjoyed that. Could we say yes to the dress? Yes. Yes, we can. Oh my god, I love Say Yes to the Dress though. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I love that show. It's so cute. It's wholesome. I don't watch the Atlanta version, only New York or only the one in the UK. No Atlanta. Sorry, Randy, whatever the fuck your name is. I can't deal with. I grew up in the South. I can't be around it anymore. I'm over it. I'm done. I don't want to hear about any more of y'all's Christian shotgun weddings or whatever the fuck. That's my opinion. You should try whispering it aloud. It's not as easy as one thinks to keep whispering, though. The ASMR community started the whisper. As the whisper community, I was there beginning whisper chills. I don't really know how to whisper, though, and I don't think I could do it when I'm drunk, but I appreciate the suggestion. I will work on it. Okay, wait. How did you chip your teeth at a real retail job, though? How did you do that? I want to know. Yes, if you would like to donate to make sure I read your question, you can either go to Streamlabs, which is linked down below, that prevents YouTube from taking a big old 30% toe, or if you don't mind YouTube taking a big old 30% you can go over to just the $sign down below in the chat, and that just goes directly through YouTube. You can use PayPal, you can use whatever it is that you want, if you want to make sure that I answer your question or react to whatever ridiculous thing you would like to say to me, within reason, of course. You made spam sushi? That sounds very exciting. Hentai manga, yes. If that's what it's called, I agree. That's what it's called. No, yaoi and yuri are like specific genres. That's like guy on guy and like girl on girl action, I think. Drink tornado! Yes. Woo! And, like, I don't really drink, so it's kind of like a novel, fun experience to me. When was the last time I got drunk? I've only been, like, drunk, like, twice in the past year. And I'm rapidly approaching 30, so you think it would happen more often. I don't know what happened in my 20s. What the fuck happened in my 20s? I don't know. Failed relationships in college. That's what happened in my 20s. Failed relationships with people that don't understand I'm asexual. And going to school for 4 years and then not using fucking shit of it at any point on YouTube. So that's fun. I'll probably end up going back to school at some point, honestly, if I can pay off my student loan debt. I've come to the conclusion that I'm definitely gray ace. I enjoy intimacy. It is important to me. And I do experience intimate attraction in some situations, but I have very uneasy relationship with intimacy in general unless it's centered more on myself. That is totally a thing. There's a word for this that I forget the name of like asexual people that are more comfortable like receiving action than like giving action or vice versa. And it's like a coy sexual or something. I don't remember the word. Oh, but it's absolutely labeled. There's absolutely a name for that. What's this question? How did we get here? Listen, I don't know, Ajax. How are we here? How did we end up here, truly? The only people I've ever felt sexually attracted to have been squishes, platonic crushes. Before that, I had 5 people in my life till now, maybe 6, but that's in development. Yeah, for me, it's been like 2. So, not that it's a contest or whatever. I'm just clarifying. It's not the penis leading, it's the desire to get off leading that can be a problem. That's true. I'm sort of speaking cheekily about the penis leading stuff. I don't really think the penis leads anything. Obviously, it's whoever's attached to the penis that really matters in the end. But sometimes people with penises are more than willing to throw their appendages under the bus. To be like, listen, it wasn't me. It was just my dick, you know? Thank you for giving me the courage to go on my first BDSM event. Oh my gosh, Max, that's so awesome. I was ready to be overwhelmed, but honestly, it was very normal. Growing up, party vibes with spanking. Exactly. I'm so glad that you had such a good time. It's exactly what it should be like, or at least it can be like. It's really common. And I'm glad that you had a fun time. That's great. That's what I live for. Awesome. As a blind male, not total darkness, what would you possibly suggest as the best way to find a pegging partner? I've not tried to have a partner for 10 years. I I mean, there's so many dating apps these days, although a lot of them are photo based, which is kind of a problem. Like after Tinder happened, it kind of ruined any apps that weren't entirely based on like photographs, which is kind of shitty. So, depends on if you want like a relationship outside of the pegging. Like if you want to have pegging happen, but you only want it to be pegging and not like romantic or sexual. Obviously there's always the option of like seeing a professional dominant, and they would obviously see somebody that, even if they have partial blindness, that would probably be fine. And let me see what else is there besides that. And like FetLife groups probably, just because they are not as photocentric as most like modern dating apps, and you can just come right in and say that I want someone to peg me, and I don't know. As somebody that is not a man and has not tried to find a pegging partner, I'm not really sure there's any sort of like specific places you should be looking, or if there's any sort of like particular websites or phrases or something. But if anybody has experience with that, please do share in the comments and I will shout it out. But generally I think that probably like groups on FetLife, either like local dating groups that are close to where you live, like I don't know, Cincinnati Kinksters or whatever. If you can post on there, if that's like a place where you can post like seeking ads, that would be what I would look for. All right, I can feel myself winding down, and so I may end this at 9 o'clock, just because I shouldn't be going for forever and ever and ever and ever. Our local club is shared with swingers, and we have an awkward relationship with them because of the crossover aspect. They try and enter our kink space, expecting everyone is after rough sex. Listen, though, that happens so often. Like, on a basic level, I don't, like, have a problem with, like, the concept of swinging. Like, it's fine. It's whatever. I don't really give a shit. But it's, like, the way that swingers... And I'm gonna rub my fucking mascara all over my face doing this, but I don't care. Like, the way that some swingers... The way that some swingers treat, like, kink spaces that are, like... Sometimes the spaces for swinging stuff or poly stuff or... like orgy stuff, and sometimes it's for BDSM stuff. It's like they always think that every space is for them, and it's like, listen, buddy, I'm not here for you to put your dick in my scene. I'm here to get a spanking, and you can be way over there. And that can be really, really aggravating. And it's like, honestly, like at some point, I just end up blaming the venue more for not being better about like making the differences in the events or the groups clear, and not having like, more signage or a required orientation or something to prevent people that are not part of the BDSM lifestyle, that don't understand like the norms and rules of being in a kink space as like being in the kink space. So I totally get that. And it's really like annoying when you're just like, what you want to do and what you're doing is like a rope bondage scene or an impact play scene or something else, has nothing to do with sex whatsoever. And then some random fucking swinger person comes along and is like, hey, can I touch your butt? And sometimes, usually, they don't even ask, and they just do it because they think that all parties in all venues have the same rules as their parties in their venues, and then they don't read the rules of the venue that they're currently at or their event that they're currently at, and that makes me really mad. And I try not to be a complete hater towards swingers, but I've had enough bad experiences and heard of enough bad experiences to where I wish they would reevaluate their normative consent policy. That is what I think. I'm probably going to be super hungover from this now that I think about it. It's a really bad idea to drink nothing but sugar and alcohol. My little liver is going to be struggling, but that's fine. Actually, I haven't had too much of this. I had like 3 shots of coconut rum with like a chaser of lemonade before I started streaming. So that's really mostly what's done me in, if I'm being honest. I like smoking pot more than drinking. I wish I liked edibles and like smoking more than drinking, because they're both legal here, but smoking just fucks me up, to be honest. Do the safe words have to be creative when engaging in BDSM? No, they do not. It's actually sort of a misconception that you need to have like a completely unique safe word. A lot of people think they need to have like a safe word that's like I don't know, like a Wordle word, like something that's really out there that no one would ever actually say. Most people that are in the community, their safe word is either just safe word or red. Some people do have safe words that are a little bit more, kumquat, pineapple, Orient Express, whatever. They have like sort of unique words for the safe word, but most people, especially because like if you're in a venue, if you're in a dungeon, most of them, their safe word is red or safe word. So people tend to just kind of follow along with that if they're part of the public community. It should be unique insofar as it's not something that you would typically say during the scene itself by mistake or on accident as part of the role play. So, there wouldn't really be a reason for you to say the word safe word in a scene except for to safe word. Like, I don't know, maybe if you're doing like a coloring scene or something, you might end up saying the word red, like if you're little or something. For the most part, people aren't going to like accidentally say that either instead of something else or something. So, woo, I just really had something hit me. I don't know what that was. I do have edibles downstairs. I could get really crossfaded tonight. Not on stream. If I get crossfaded, I'm not going to be physically able to press the stop streaming button. So we're not doing that. But I like the idea. But no, safe words do not have to be creative. Sometimes they are, but not always. Waffles sound really good. Actually, I would have a waffle right now. I know a lot of people when they get like drunk, they get really hungry and they would eat whatever. I don't feel that way at all. Oh my god, a high protocol party. Oh my god, I totally get it, One-Eyed Heathen. Oh my god, I get it. That's perfect, exactly. You think there'd be more stuff like that, but there's not. That's funny. As long as everyone there is of age and understands what they're getting into, that could definitely be a fun time. I'm not totally against, I should clarify, I'm not totally against like substance use while doing BDSM. I don't want to be like a total prude or whatever. I just don't encourage new people to do it or to do it with strangers in an unknown setting. Like that's just really, really is dangerous. But if you're with an established partner, if you're in a safe space, like if you live with your partner and you're in your own fucking home, like, and you've been doing BDSM together, you've been having sex together for like 5 years, like, okay, whatever, smoke some weed and then have sex or do BDSM. I don't care. I just don't want people to like think that the expectation for being part of a BDSM scene, like in a public venue, is that people are drunk, is that people are drinking or doing drugs or smoking weed or whatever. Because it's not true. I mean, if you're in Europe, it's a little bit different, but like in America, that's definitely not the case for most venues. And I don't think it should be, especially if you're new and you're trying to negotiate with strangers. But if you're like with somebody that you've been with for a long time and you've done BDSM together before and you have faith that you can safe word or at least read the other person non-verbally enough to know when to stop, like, risk aware consensual kink, my man. That's really what it's all about. I do not have any waffles, unfortunately. I think I maybe have some like shitty like waffles that have the cinnamon flavor to them for no reason. I hate it when vegan shit adds cinnamon as like the plain flavor. It's like, no, the flavor isn't plain, it's cinnamon, and I don't want cinnamon flavor. I want regular, maybe slightly vanilla, like sugary baked good flavor, not cinnamon flavor. That's a different thing. And then I get mad, and that's it. Oh, do you have ice cream? Oh, that doesn't sound very good. Was this a mistake? I don't know. Maybe it was. Okay, 10 minutes. Probably longer. Probably going to lose track of time again. But I don't want to be on here for forever because I will probably need to lay down at some point. Yeah, it's good for pain management for sure. I hope Oregon allows high-grade fireworks. I don't know what kind of fireworks they allow around here other than many. They allow many fireworks. That is the answer, is what it seems. I used to be a vet tech. We once had to treat a dog that jumped through a picture window. Oh my God, poor baby. Because it was so scared of fireworks. Oh my God, Stacey, that's so awful. This is why you gotta watch your pets during 4th of July and as though directed by me. As though I am a god of my own universe. Fireworks in the background before dark, of course. That's so sad. I hope he was okay. Sounds like he was probably okay. That's scary though. I can pull off a high class British accent when I'm not drinking. How about that? There's gonna be a taco fest near me this weekend, so I'll go out wear my protective earbuds and enjoy a taco in your honor. Unless you hate tacos, I love tacos. I love hard shell tacos. I love soft shell tacos. Listen, I know a lot of people get really ants in their pants about hard shell versus soft shell tacos and like creamy versus smooth peanut butter. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to make those choices in your life. If you want to have smoothie and crunchy smoothie, if you want to have smooth and crunchy peanut butter and you want to have both hard and soft shell tacos, you don't have to make those choices, my friend. Only the internet is making you feel like you have to join a team. We're on the team of tacos, and tacos can be soft and hard shell. And if the taco is best served by being in a hard shell or being in a soft shell, that's what matters. It's the individual taco that matters. I'd rather have a good hard shell than a bad soft shell, and vice versa, you know? Okay, I promise I'm not going to throw up on camera. That would be super fucking embarrassing. I just need help, I guess, with my life. And no one is here to give me help. So, I am but a one-woman island. What craft projects do you do? I recently tried soap making for the first time. I make, like, bath products. I make, like, I don't make, like, bath bombs. I make, like, bath truffles and, like, bath salts and, like, massage oil and things like that. I mostly do, like, little DIY projects, basically. Not, like, building stuff, but, like, making things, you know. That's basically what I do. I look like I need to hydrate. I absolutely need to hydrate. But this is the fucking thing. This is why I can't hydrate. Is because the fucking refrigerator water dispenser is broken again. And I can't use it again. So I'm stuck in this hell. And I know that I have dark circles around my eyes. But that was because I had nightmares last night. That's not because I'm dehydrated. That's just my face. Okay? Leave me alone. I can't help what my anxiety brain does. Alone at nighttime. I do need to hydrate though. But the only water I have available to me right now is like nasty sink water. And I don't want nasty sink water. I will drink out of the fucking, I don't know, garden hose before I have regular, nasty, gross, unfiltered sink water that tastes like garbage and is full of chlorine or whatever it is they put in the water around here. It's nasty and I don't like it. I'll do it if I have to, but I don't want to. Smoothies do sound good. I don't know if I think smoothies would be too sweet right now. I need like burned toast. That's what I need. Not like a smoothie. Oh my gosh, we talked about this earlier. Is there anywhere you wanted to visit in the future for a vacation that I haven't been to before? I want to the Swiss Alps. I want to go to like a white sand beach in Europe. Really anywhere, but like I'm just thinking if I want to do Switzerland and also a beach in the same trip, it probably has to be like in Greece or like Sicily or somewhere like that. Maybe like the French Riviera. I'm not sure. But I want to go to like a white sand beach and then Switzerland. That's what I'm currently thinking of. Or just like a tropical island by myself. That's what I'm thinking of. And I haven't been to Switzerland before. I haven't really been to Italy before. I was briefly in Switzerland in a train station, but I don't really think that counts. I haven't really like seen Switzerland, you know. I was in Geneva for like 0.5 seconds. I was in Geneva for like 20 minutes waiting for a train transfer. So that's probably it. Listen, where there's a will is a way. I have vegan taco stuff in my fridge. I could make tacos. Should I make tacos? Absolutely fucking not. But I could. Thoughts? Oh my god. Thoughts on subs unionizing against doms who aren't able to fulfill their end of the deal? Listen, if you are ever in an unjust hierarchy, in which case I think that an unjust hierarchy would include like a boss that's not paying you your fair wage, or like I don't know, or a dom that's unable to fulfill their dom end of the bargain, unionize. End them with the power of a union. That is what I believe. I think collective action is the most powerful tool that we have in multi-partner DS relationships. I'm ready to start organizing for more cause and attention. Listen, if none of you are getting your fucking needs met, then you gotta be able to come to them and be like, this isn't working for me. It's not working for us. It's not working for any of us. So either step up to the plate or like fuck around and find out, you know? Just like fuck around and find out. That's my advice. Is be like, hey, you need us more than we need you. And so like be honest with us about what you're able to actually do. Don't actually say any of this. I'm saying for you what you can't say. So I would probably be like, you know, some variety of like, hey, you know, our needs aren't really being met and we really love you, we really want to be with you. But, you know, we're just sort of feeling like we're not getting to have the time with you that we really need to have in order to have a fulfilling relationship. Like, can we talk more about that? Well, you can say it in a really diplomatic way, but what you're really saying is fuck around and find out because I don't need you, asshole. And none of us need you. And we're going to dom each other if you don't do it. Like, you know? Subs of the world unite. Truly, 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 truly. I don't have any crackers, though. Well, I have cheese crackers. I have, like, vegan cheese crackers. That doesn't sound good either. If you have ever been unfulfilled by a dom, you would be entitled. Listen, I am going to pay. I'm on Instagram right now. Because I want to look at tattoos while I talk. And little dogs. I want to look at little dogs and tattoos while I talk. Oh, those look pretty. What are these? Oh my gosh, it's like a glittery. Oh, I don't care anymore. It's like a glittery eye thing. It doesn't look as cool as I thought it did. Yes. I'm going to run a late night advertisement that is just for submissives that have ever not had the dom fulfill their end of the bargain. I'm sorry, doms. I'm about to call you like the complete the fuck out right now, but we need to have a fucking conversation, okay? I'm putting my phone down. I'm not going to look at tattoos anymore, even though I really want one. Okay, this is what I want for my birthday. Can you guys, like, tell me this is a terrible idea or not? I have, like, 20 thoughts happening simultaneously. I really want to get a tattoo, like, on my back, like, right here, like, over my spine. Also, I've had my face tattooed. I've had my eyebrows tattooed. So I'm prepared for the pain of a tattoo. I don't care. I'll fucking deal with it. I really want to get, like, a tattoo of, like, a sword on, like, the middle part of my back, and then maybe something with like a sun and a heart, and like I want it to be really fucking cool and like badass and like Joan of Arc, but it's expensive and it costs money, and I would need to book with somebody. And Portland has good tattoo places, I think, but I want to start getting tattoos because you only live once, and I don't care what I look like when I'm old because I'm probably going to be dead before then. So whatever. If I'm a cool old lady that's 80 years old and has tattoos, I don't care. Again, I've had my eyebrows tattooed. It's been a year. I got them tattooed in May last year. I need to get them retouched, actually. But you know, I'm not like, they're going to fade and they're going to look ugly. Like, I just want to have a badass tattoo, you know? And maybe more after I get one done. I really want to have tattoos. I love bats and like bees. I love like nature stuff, you know? But like sort of like dark nature. Does that make sense? Like dark nature tattoos. Is that a genre of tattoo? I don't really want to get anything that has anything to do with like a magician. What did I just say? Magician or like people or anything. I don't want to get anything that's like too significant and like emotionally important or whatever. But I just want tattoos to look cool. You know. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'm still going. Whatever. We're still going. I'm in control here. I get to say when we're done. I wish you a beautiful evening. Eat something tasty and have a great birthday on the 5th. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I am totally going to eat something tasty and have a great birthday. And you guys can sort of technically see my dog right there as she attempts for the 30th time to get comfortable.
Long time watcher. I got a tattoo in the exact spot on my spine. It wasn't too bad, but maybe a 6 out of 10 for pain. But you'll most likely live a long life too if I have a great life. Oh, I'm not saying that I'm gonna like, I'm not planning on living a long life. I'm just sort of being like, I don't necessarily know how long my life's gonna be, and I don't want to not do something now because I'm afraid of like what's gonna happen when I'm 80. Because like forever is not a promise, you gotta live for the now, at least a little bit. Don't not plan for the future, but also like don't limit yourself because you don't want things to happen in the future. Does that make sense? I don't know how big the kink community is in Germany. I know that it's around and there's dungeons and stuff, but I don't actually know how big it is at all. It is a size. Like tongue? Oh, like beef tongue. Like bad cheap steak. That is how. I don't think I've ever actually had tongue. But there was a Beverly Clearly book I used to read that like was published in the 70s when people would buy tongue because it was a cheaper alternative to other meat products that was supposed to be like, good. Like good for you. In terms of nutritional value. I think the texture would probably be more of a question, to be honest. I do really need Bandit. Judge me if you must. Long time watcher. I got a tattoo in the exact spot. Okay, no, I read that already. You're a good dude. I'm just an older goth and fussing at you young bloods. Listen, I hope that one day I can be you dang kids today and your hollow tattoos and your whatever else. I hope that I can live to be that one day. I hope I too can live to be mad at the young generation alpha or whatever it is, Wait, why does it smell like chili right now? Are my neighbors making chili? What's happening? Maybe my neighbors are making barbecue. I don't know what's happening, okay? My life's a mess. I had to put security devices, paint things, and all of my faux leather jackets and coats. Some of the coats were super thick in an attempt to get the pin to connect the two parts to get one particularly thick coat. I used my teeth to connect the two and chip my front tooth. Oh, I see. Well, I hope, did you get like a tooth like cover? Like what happened with that? That's crazy. Okay, I'm going to answer like probably 2 or 3 more questions and then I'm going to lay down. Hangovers in late 20s, early 30s are much worse than they were in the early 20s. I think I only had a hangover once when I was in college. And it wasn't that bad. So I'm prepared. Probably. Maybe. Listen, if somebody can tell me where to find a gavel and I can get it on Amazon and it can be here in less than a week, I will buy a gavel for the streams. I will use it. I may even beat somebody up with it. I don't know. Multi-purpose. You can't stop me. Well, only the people that I would be hitting with the gavel can stop me, but I'm assuming it's none of you, so it's not a problem. I'm going to move the chat to this other screen. I'm so sleepy. Honestly, I'm avoiding thinking of some of the bad stuff I can't really control or just over the horizon. Also put my earbuds in to help filter out the explosions because Iraq was fun. Listen, I feel you on that. We do not treat our veterans very well in this country, and it makes me upset for personal reasons. Yeah, I'm with you. On you can't help but control thinking of the bad things. I totally get you. We're here to support you in that, and that's why we're around, This royalty-free low synth music is my jam. Oh, this is like, what the fuck is it that I even have set up on my stream? I want to say it's like a Birthday Massacre song. I don't remember, though. I may have had to change that one because of, like, copyright issues. Or maybe I've forgotten to and it still is. In which case, I'm going to probably have to take this stream down later.
I'm gonna head out. Have a nice night. And thank you all for the show. Yeah, totally. Have a nice night. Stay safe. What if topping from the bottom is someone's kink? Listen, if topping from the bottom or bottoming from the top is your kink, I'm not here to tell you no. I'm not here to stop you. I'm only here to tell you that you need to negotiate that stuff, and that's it. Okay? Just negotiate for it. I am millennial garbage. It is true. I am but millennial garbage. And I am garbage. I will be garbage. This is my fate. I've been together with someone, but he's really shy and I'm a switch, so I'm not really sure what he's into or if he's even considered BDSM before. I don't know how to bring it up to him. I mean, it's really hard when you have a partner that's like super shy and like awkward. It also depends on how long you've been together and like how much of an established relationship you have. You can always like share memes. You can like watch movies together to have kind of like a BDSM vibe to them and like see how he feels about them. Like the recent movie that was on Netflix, the Korean one, that like Love and Leashes, that might be like a fun one to watch together as like a romantic date night movie, you know? Let's see, what else is it? I've been together, she's really shy and I'm a switch. I mean, also, if you want to take this first step and be like vulnerable and like put yourself out there first and be like, I'm into XYZ thing, like, are you into anything like that? You don't have to necessarily be that blunt, but like, hey, you know, I think sometimes if you're vulnerable first, it can help the shy person open up a little bit more, but it's hard. I'm sorry, I'm not giving like super great advice at the minute. I'm tired. I did not grab food and water. I'm sorry. You're right. Children are oftentimes discouraged from setting up boundaries, and it is gross, and I don't like it. If I ever have kids, I don't have any immediate plans to. If I ever have kids, I will definitely be like very proactive about them knowing that they can set boundaries, because I don't want them to not have boundaries with me or with other adults or with like kids at school or whatever. I think being able to have boundaries and knowing what they are at a young age is like super important. I have been to Powell's. I've only been there once so far, and I definitely want to go back. It was really fun. I wasn't there for super long because I didn't have a lot of time because of like parking and things like that. But I had a great time at Powell's. It was a really, really fun time. Powell's, great first date idea for like nerdy people that love books and don't mind spending a lot of money by accident. All right, I'm going to answer one more question, and then I'm going to go lay down probably. Yes, I'm aware of the combination of sugar and alcohol causing hangovers. Unfortunately, this is a prison that I've built for myself that I have no choice about. All right, people are saying I should get a tattoo. Okay, but also I want to get my ears pierced. So like I want to get like a double lobe piercing, and so I need to get that done. I don't think I can be healing piercings and then also be healing a tattoo at the same time. Is that possible, or are they different enough to where it doesn't really matter, you know? I am 27, about to turn 28. Can we still cut out the young goth / emos for not knowing how great Hot Topic used to be? Yes. Hot Topic got fucking ruined. It used to be super cool, and now it's like just like Funko Pops, and I'm mad. I can finally go to Hot Topic because I'm an adult, and now it's lame. Have you ever heard of using gauze or pantyhose to edge a penis owner? Yes, but I wouldn't advise it because it's very restrictive and it can be really hard to cut off. So I would advise using purpose-made cock rings before I would advise like guillotining somebody's dick with pantyhose, you know? Like, if you decide the risk is worth it of like accidentally getting your penis severed, like, okay, that's your fucking risk profile, I guess. But I would advise using a cock ring beforehand because they make them in all different shapes and sizes and materials that are not pantyhose. Gauze, like a vet wrap, maybe would probably be easier / better than pantyhose, but I don't have a penis, so I have no personal experience. I feel like I've been by a box lunch, but I don't really know anything about it. I have not been to the rare book room in Powell's. I will definitely try it though. All right, who wants to be my last question? This is your final call for questions before I abscond for the night. Can you use pantyhose to give yourself bottom surgery? I probably wouldn't advise it. DIY transition yourself, I guess. Thoughts on kink at Pride? People shouldn't fucking worry about it because the government also wants to destroy all of us for not conforming to like societal norms. So I feel like instead of worrying about what other queer people are doing at Pride, we need to band together and support each other and realize that we're all together in this fight of like Puritans not getting to regulate our personal public expression of ourselves and whatever. You know, I feel like it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay. I feel like I need to go. I need to get water and drink water and then go to sleep. So I'm going to do that. And then, thank you so much for this really fun stream, you guys. This is way longer than it normally is on Fridays. There will probably be another video on Monday. It's probably going to be the next day of videos. But thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I will likely be streaming on Tuesday, which is the 5th. That is my birthday. So come and hang out for that. I'm probably not going to be drunk for that. But yeah, oh my gosh, I love you all so much. I am so, so grateful that you chose to spend even a little bit of your Friday night or Saturday morning with me. I hope you enjoyed this. And stay safe, you all. Have fun. And I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.